If you've ever talked about smart glasses and then later that day got breaking news about smart glasses, then you'd be in Benzinga's pre-market playbook because that's what we do around here. Anyways, good morning. Happy hump day. Happy Wednesday. Welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's pre-market playbook. This one for Wednesday, May 21st. It's a Tim Melvin day. And folks, I got good news for you. Last night on the webinar, Tim teased this morning. He said, Ryan, get your notes ready or get ready to take notes because he's coming with tickers today. So I hope you all are ready for that. I will take note of all of the tickers that he talks about and give them to you. But look forward to Tim Melvin here. We are going to have some more ideas. We got robo-taxi news. We got Warby Parker entering the smart glasses. We got all types of stuff to break down. Let's not waste any more time on hump day. Benzinga's pre-market playbook for Wednesday, May 21st starts right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks. I hope that you all had a great rest of your Tuesday. I know I did. I spent most of it on my couch after my nighttime webinar, and it was glorious, and I'm not upset about that. Anyway, we're back here to make sense of another day of the market here. It is hump day. Do have some things to go over here. Oil and gas data coming here today. Fed Barkin is talking again. So we'll see what happens. We'll go ahead and break all of that down. Great to see a whole bunch of returning faces here today. Sun-kissed Yogi first here today. Great to see a good morning. Welcome back. Charles saying, good morning, Ryan. Two opinions. Number one, you guys are the best. Well, thank you, Charles. I appreciate that. It is worth reiterating that what makes us the best is the group. So pat yourself on the back. Two, I think you should do runners earlier. You got to catch them earlier so we can make more before they run out of steam. So I get where you're coming from on this. The big thought process now is 13 has family obligations in the morning, and I would never ask him to rearrange his morning with his family for anything. And I like to bring him in for the runners because while I'm doing some of the prep work, he often prepares for that. We kind of get to add that together and have it be accretive. The other thing here is that, and I don't want anyone else to go through this, I've been burned quite a bit trying to trade early in the pre-market. I know that's not how it's going to happen every time, but I have been burned a lot on that. I will mention this feedback here. I'm unsure about the logistics to actually execute on this, Charles. But I appreciate that. And I also appreciate, I've been asking for feedback. I appreciate that you took that seriously and gave me some feedback. That's important to me. So let me see what I can do. Let me brainstorm a little bit with the rest of the team. Good morning. Thanks for joining us. Kayla, good morning. Great to see you. Ari Stock Market. Good morning. Ari Stocks Market. Good morning. Ivan, good morning. That would mean 13 would need an even bigger coffee mug. I'm pretty sure that I outdrink 13 on coffee like 10-1 over the course of a week, but go off. Ashok, good morning. Rooster, good morning. Russ, glad to check in. Good morning, my man. King, good morning. Tanya, good morning. Sean, good morning. QBTS above estimate, but still looks like a good chart. High estimate, be shattered. Where do you see Ondas end of year? Okay, a couple of things here real quick. We'll cover QBTS. I actually did take a short on QBTS overnight. And of course, because I did that, it gapped up $3 here today. I took puts, so my risk is defined. No big deal. And they expire on Friday. I still think that could sell off, but we'll see. On this, my price targets, my year-end price targets have been horrific on the stock. As I've mentioned, it's taken way longer than I've anticipated. So I probably have a glass half full, maybe an apple polisher view of the whole thing. I would like to see this at least at $5 by the end of the year. The entire trade, I'm definitely going to hold. I have a lot now to where even if this does go to 5 and I sell everything that I have, I'm going to keep a chunk for the long term. I do eventually think this thing goes to double digits. I think it's going to be an important stock. We'll see if I'm right about that. Highly speculative play. Please don't buy it because of me. If anything, look into it and research it some more. I'm in heavy in it though. Brett, good morning. Day Trader, good morning. Esrar, good morning. Bernhard, good morning. Shanlu, good morning. Zane, Couch Potato, and Ed, good morning. Hellcat, good morning. 3D, good morning. Producers locked in as always. Allsorts, MD, Yasin, good morning. Yasin saying good morning. Great webinar last night. Thank you. Yasin, this feedback means a lot to me because we talked about some things that some people think are boring. We talked about bonds. I know we opened it with breaking down Palo Alto's earnings and a possible trade post earnings since it sold off here. We're going to talk about Palo Alto in a sec. I'm glad that you enjoyed that. I feel like there's not enough content out there, and I feel like the little blips that we get from the financial news media are very crafted. So it was great to have Tim, who knows a lot about that stuff, and Anne-Marie, who's really adept at setting up trades, kind of join heads for that. I'm glad that you found that helpful. I look forward to doing more of that content that kind of separates us from our competitors. That's really good feedback, Yassine. I appreciate you. Mike, good morning. JJ, what's going on, man? Good morning. Booglog, good morning. Crimp Biscuit, good morning. Seahorse, good morning. Jay Grant, Javon, and Brian, good morning. Terlingua, Wiss, Wiss says, Ryan, I will outdrink you in wine. Wiss, I challenge accepted. If I am not mistaken, you are younger than me, and you are already a tad more fit than me. So I wouldn't be surprised if you have some pretty serious ability there. But it sounds like fun. Wine drinking contest with Wiss, sign me up. I'm in for that. Neville, good morning. Ryan, good morning. Gary, good morning. Mike, Brandy, Hunter, and Julie, good morning. Dragon Slacker, good morning. Wesley and Bobcat, good morning. I actually play Tarkov with a guy named Bobcat, and he's amazing. So I like your handle as well. All right, let's dive right in. Sorry, I took a little bit longer than I normally do there, but good morning to everybody and anyone that I may have missed, although I think I'm pretty accurate about that. SPY, let's start with the SPY here, and then we'll take a look at the morning report as well. We'll lead you right up to Tim Melvin. SPY here, I almost can't believe it, but it's doing exactly what I wanted it to do. Part of me wants to pinch myself and make sure I'm not dreaming here. SPY continuing to trade sideways here. Under pressure a little bit here in the pre-market. S&P futures down 0.6%. Dow futures down 0.75%. And the NASDAQ futures here down 0.65%. We did have Target report earnings this morning. They were fairly wild, right? Up 5%, then down, then back up again. And the last time I checked, it was actually trading lower here. Let's see. Yes, still trading lower here. So Target's kind of been wild. Might be a trade on that here today. We'll see. Anyway, with the SPY here, we moved above the 582.30 level, which is represented by the 5% pullback from all-time high level. And we stopped right there and we traded sideways. We talked a lot about this market being overheated, a huge move off the lows in a very short amount of time. We had the RSI and Williams percent hour, both overbought, oversold indicators telling us that indeed the market was overbought. Now we're starting to trade sideways here, and this actually makes sense to me. Nothing has really changed fundamentally other than some of these earnings reports, and those individual names are reacting to those reports. But the market here doesn't really have that catalyst yet, right? We don't have any inked deals or anything like that. Doesn't have that catalyst to go to new highs yet, but did kind of recover some of the damage. Actually, this ended up being an excellent buying opportunity for anyone that was nimble enough. I know we had played I didn't play any stock from the dead low to where we are here today, but I did play a number of different stocks on this move up and on the move down. And that's one of the things that we should be doing. Now that the SPY is here and we continue to chop around or trade sideways, this hopefully will reset some of these overbought indicators and allow us to move higher. If we do break down, your key levels here are going to be 582.30 and also that 200-day, which is basically sitting on the 100-day. Additionally, if we look inside here on the SPY, I think there's another level that we can watch today that is likely going to be in play. That's going to be your pre-market low for Monday here today, and that value is at 586.11. Let's just call it 586. I think as long as we stay above that, we'll probably continue to chop around. If we break down through that level, then we'll have to start looking at some of these other levels like the 582.30 level and see if we pierce any of that to the downside. So this is kind of what I'm looking at here in SPY. I didn't take any market short or long because, again, my view here is that this should just trade sideways. I think that would be best for the index itself, and as a result, I can't really play that. So I haven't. And so far, that hasn't bit me. We'll see if that changes here. But love the fact that we're trading sideways here. The longer we do this over the next, within reason, over the next week or two here, the better, I think. We'll see if we get any concrete catalyst that either moves us up or down from this level. All right, let's take a quick look at the morning update here, powered by Benzinga Pro. We talked to you a little bit about the crude inventories that are coming at 10:30. We'll see what that does for energy and oil. Also wanted to take a quick look here. Bitcoin down a little bit, Ethereum up a little bit. The Bitcoin market here looks relatively flat. The regular market here, again, under pressure. IWM leading the way down. Rest of the indices just under 1% on the way down. Okay, we do have some IPOs here today. Looks like we've got a couple of them. AACI, Amanda Acquisition. Is that or no? Armada, excuse me. Armada Acquisition Company, they priced at 10. They're going to IPO here today. They're also doing a unit IPO. PCAP, ProCap Acquisition, they also IPO here at 10. They also did a unit. And then OFAL, the OFA group, they priced, at 4.5. They are going to IPO here today as well. Top earnings for the day. We talked a little bit about Target already. They reported here this morning. We do have Wix reporting here this morning. Baidu looks like that's reporting here this morning. Urban Outfitters, I don't know if that's big, but that's reporting after hours here today, along with Zoom as well. Snow also, Yassine, I know you had been asking about Snow. We might actually have to take a look at that here today. As far as some analyst initiations, I didn't see any earlier that stood out to me. I still don't see any in here. CFG, Citizens Financial Group. I don't know if Tim Melvin follows that, but that's in one of the sectors he looks at. Seeing some banks here actually getting some new initiations with buy and hold ratings. That's, I guess, a little bit interesting. And then nothing there on the upgrades. On the downgrades, UNH, we had HSBC move this to a reduced rating, price target 270. That stock's down by almost 0.8% here today. Okay. A good morning to everyone else that's joining, like Blazed Rhino, RL, Jane, Jazz. Who else did I miss there? And Mike. I love your energy, says Mike. Mike, I have a secret. You want me to share it with you? The secret is coffee. Really good, really strong coffee, and don't put any of that sugar garbage in it. Just drink it black. That's how I get my energy. Oh, and push-ups also. Some type of physical activity in the morning. I'm trying grounding right now. I'm not really sure it's doing anything. But the stuff that I know works, exercise and coffee, that should set your day up right. Okay, let's go ahead and go back to the chart. I want to start with PanW, and I want to start with the chart here. I know we talked with Anne-Marie yesterday about setting up a potential trade here. I ended up not taking any, mostly because my afternoon completely flew off the handle. It's no one's fault but my own. But it is something that I had to deal with here. Palo Alto down by about 5% here in the pre-market. We're trading right down near 184.65. Your key levels here are pretty cut and dry, right? They're just printed right there on the chart with some of these moving averages. 182.57 and 182 are the 100 and the 200 respectively. So that 50-cent area should provide really, really sticky support here today. It's possible that the stock wants to peek under and see what's there. But I would imagine that the stock probably holds at that 182 level. We'll see. It is worth noting about 179, another dollar beneath that is going to be the 50-day moving average. So like I said, there's a amalgamation of a lot of these moving averages down there. And I do think that PanW should catch some support there. The last time that this thing traded down to the 200, we actually broke through it and then reclaimed it and got a nice little trade there. The two previous times we tested this, we bounced. The 3 or 4 or 5 previous times we tested this, we bounced. So I'd love to see this come into 182, hold that, maybe stay above that right at the close. I think that might be a decent swing long trigger here for Palo Alto. As far as my own personal bias goes, remember, I think this sector is important for 2025, and I think this particular stock is best in breed on that. So this is why I'm choosing this. This is why I have a bullish outlook on this. If this does come in and hold, then the price action also giving us signal there that we might be able to trade this. Now, let's take a look at some of those earnings. Palo Alto reported Q3 earnings and raises the full year 25 guidance, but the shares slide. And I think that's what kind of caught people off guard here. We had a top and bottom line beat and a guide raise, and the stock still sold down. Now, we've talked in the past about this maybe being peak earnings and all of that. And while I don't know that for sure, definitely something to watch. The price action should help us make that decision. They reported, Palo Alto reported third quarter revenue of $2.29 billion, beating the consensus estimate of $2.28 billion. Again, it was a beat, but it was very, very slight. So too is the EPS here. The company reported third quarter adjusted earnings of 80 cents per share, beating the analyst estimate of 77 cents per share. Total revenue was up 15% year over year, and remaining performance obligations grew 19% year over year to $13.5 billion. Company is not a joke. The cybersecurity company said next generation security annual recurring revenue increased 34% year over year to $5.1 billion. Palo Alto ended the quarter with approximately $2.38 billion in cash and cash equivalents. Quote, in Q3, we continued to make progress on our platformization strategy and achieved an important milestone in crossing $5 billion in next gen security ARR, annual run rate. That comes from Nikesh Arora, chairman and CEO of Palo Alto Networks. Quote, our scale and platform breadth makes us a leading consolidator of choice in cybersecurity. And this absolutely plays into the bullish thesis that I have here on Palo Alto. Palo Alto expects fiscal fourth quarter revenue to be in the range of $2.49 billion to $2.51 billion versus the estimate of 2.5. So the estimate pretty much right there in the middle of the range. The company expects fourth quarter adjusted earnings to be 87 cents to 89 cents versus the estimate of 86 cents. So that above the low end of that range, actually above the estimate. Palo Alto raised its full year 2025 guidance. The company now expects full year revenue of $9.17 billion to $9.19 billion, up from the prior guide of $9.14 to $9.19. The company now anticipates full year adjusted earnings of $3.26 to $3.28 per share, up from prior guide of $3.18 to $3.24. Again, all of this stuff looks pretty good. Analysts are forecasting full year revenue of $9.17 billion and full year adjusted earnings of $3.22 per share. Palo Alto executives will further discuss at the conference call. They did exactly that. Sorry for reading that. So this, again, the report here looks pretty good. It looks like there might just be a little bit of fatigue. So with that being the case, let's see where the stock actually goes. Let's use some of the technical analysis to determine what the stock's likely to do next. We'll see if it holds anywhere. We'll see if it fleshes out any other key levels, and we'll see if we get a trade set up there. It is worth noting that I believe the options priced in a 7.4% move on Palo Alto. Currently, right ahead of the open here, we're sitting at minus 5%. So the option buyers, either puts or calls, probably are not going to win this print. This has been what has happened a majority of the time. I know that there were a few outliers here. Some of these stocks went absolutely bonkers and option buyers ended up winning. But this, again, one of the reasons why I'm a little less trigger happy with some of these earnings, even if Anne-Marie sets them up here, is just because the option sellers really seem to win. That seems to be where the odds lie, or where the favorite lies there. Now that this binary event is out of the way, giddy up. Give us a technical setup. Give us a trade trigger. I like this to eventually move above 200. I'd like to see that, and I'd like to be long in order to capture that. Give us a trigger down here. Let's see if we can trade off that. 182, going to be the big level that I'm watching here today. Okay. Jazz asking about QBTS. Yes, absolutely. We're going to take a look at that. I would imagine we're going to take a look at a lot of the quantum names. As mentioned, I came in short QBTS today, which is not going to be great. I did end up, so with that short, I ended up getting this week's 14 and a half puts, and I paid 42 cents for those puts. So my risk is defined here. If this ends up jamming, I won't be on the hook for a massive loss on the short side. It'll be well defined, but I'm sure we'll take a look at that. Palantir is catching up with AirPods. LOL. Ryan, I can appreciate that we carried that joke over. That's no problem. I agree. Tom says, I agree. When it should go up, it goes down. Well, that should give us an opportunity then when it finds any type of firm footing, we should be able to trade off of that. Jim saying, good morning, Ryan. Major internet problem fixed. Happy Wednesday. Well, hey, at least you got it fixed. Brandy says, I'm short QBTS as well, but I have the 16 put. You have an even better put than I do. You're going to be closer to the money there. My thought on this is that, we closed here. Let me look back here real quick. The day before yesterday, the day before that huge move, we closed at 13. All right. 13. I bought the 14 and a half puts. So we don't even have to fully round trip that move. If we get pretty close, those puts should pay. We'll see if we end up getting that. All right. One more thing here before we get to Tim Melvin today. I want to really quickly talk about the robo-taxi. We talked a little bit about this yesterday. It seems that some of you, it seems that there seems to be a split here. Folks think that Tesla is clearly the leader here in full self-driving. Others think it's some other company like Waymo or something like that. I think that this battle is going to rage on for a while, and I do think that this should provide trading opportunities for us. Elon Musk expects the Tesla robotaxi launch for June. Quote, these things happen slowly, then all at once. Thanks, Elon. That's extremely helpful. Musk, in an interview that aired on Tuesday's editions of CNBC's Power Lunch, this was David Faber, explained that the robotaxi rollout will start small and ramp up to hundreds of thousands of vehicles as soon as next year. Who's ready to be driving around with thousands of robots out there? Anyone excited for that? Let me know. Quote, we want to be very careful with the first introduction of unsupervised self-driving, meaning the car is driving around with no one in it. Yeah, you think? You ought to be very careful with that. I think that's a good goal. Musk expects about 10 vehicles on the roads in the first week, about 1,000 driverless vehicles on the roads within a few months, and hundreds of thousands of vehicles capable of unsupervised full self-driving on the roads by the end of next year. Quote, if not over 1 million. Day trader here saying Waymo's is years ahead. I'll take the other side of that. I do not think they are years ahead. We actually had this discussion yesterday. There's no way that Waymo can scale up like Tesla. They simply don't have the ability to do that. The LiDAR, this is the one part I didn't know, I actually got from one of the gentlemen in happy hour. The LiDAR rigs are much more expensive. The other thing about Waymo is that they're geo-fenced in cities, and Teslas can go anywhere. So it really depends on how you look at that. I'm not sure that I agree with the Waymo thing. And I also think that Tesla has a couple of cards up its sleeve that I'm not sure Waymo has. We'll see how that ends up panning out. Easy for me to take a position. I'm not long either of these. I'm not actually playing in this just yet. Day trader says this is laughable. So you think that these numbers here that Musk is giving are laughable? Again, we will see how it shakes out. When CNBC's David Faber asked Musk why he's so confident, the CEO said Tesla vehicles are already driving themselves 24/7 with drivers in them, and the company has seen essentially no interventions. Musk said that the company expects to unveil a business model for full self-driving similar to Uber and Airbnb, where Tesla owners can rent out their vehicles when they're not using them. It's a way for Tesla owners to earn revenue. Instead of having your car sit in a parking lot, your car can be out earning money. These things happen slowly, but all at once. So I will say, like, just the vision of this, the vision of a car, instead of being in a parking lot, out there doing its thing on its own, earning me money, that is an attractive proposition. I wouldn't do that with my main car because I don't want randos in my main car that I daily drive, that I absolutely love and take care of. I wouldn't want that in my main car, but I could absolutely see this as, let's call it a side hustle, where my car is out there making money for me. Keep telling me about what I can do with that, Elon. You might actually win me over. Tesla bears have raised concerns about the company's first quarter performance, pointing to a 9% year-over-year decrease in sales as automotive revenue dropped 20%. Musk also told CNBC that the company has seen a, quote, major rebound in demand, end quote, since the first quarter. That should surprise absolutely nobody. The emotional reaction to this is laughable. It was absolutely a buying opportunity. And a big time shout out to several members of the happy hour, including one that, quote, made the biggest trade of his life, end quote, on betting on exactly this. It's really great to see that. I love seeing our community win. I don't think there's anything I like more than seeing our group of folks win here. That really made me happy. Production numbers were also well below those of the same period last year, but shares moved higher following the report as Musk announced plans to reduce time spent working on government initiatives and provided optimistic commentary around full self-driving in the company's humanoid Optimus bots. Musk reiterated, Lion, you excited about the human dancing robot? We'll see how that ends up going. I did watch that video. In fact, I can't wait to tell Ben that. I did watch that video right after, it was last week, right after I got off. It's definitely worth watching. I don't know if that moves the needle for me. Those overwhelmingly dominate the future success of the company. Tesla has not provided an exact date for its robotaxi launch in Austin. I think even if they do, they might move that around. Musk's visionary rhetoric is often scrutinized due to overpromising and under-delivering on ambitious projects, especially regarding robotaxis. We've never seen him miss an estimate, have we? Wink, wink. Okay, so I'm sure this is going to be tradable back and forth. I'm sure there's going to be more than one opportunity here. Love it. I already love what I'm seeing here. Day trader, I think that saying they aren't behind Waymo is laughable. Okay, I just gave you something there. What about the fact that Waymo is geofenced? Why can't they scale up? Like, address some of those things. Lion here, Waymo has 100 cars. Tesla makes thousands of cars every month. Also, let me know with Waymo, where can I go buy a Waymo? I'll wait. All right, let's go ahead and welcome Tim Melvin to the program here. I know y'all folks are excited about Wednesdays. And again, just another reiteration here. Tim teased this last night. These are Tim's words. This is not me putting words in Tim's mouth. Tim said, get your pens ready. Get ready to take notes, because it sounds like today we're going to have some ticker time. Let's bring him on. Tim, good morning, my man. How you doing? Love the green shirt today.
Thank you. Yes, I picked it out very carefully in the dark. I grabbed one off the rack.
Picked it out carefully in the dark. Let's go. Accidentally on purpose.
First,
I love it.
First, I need to solve the driverless taxi discussion. Okay, I'm just going to end this.
Here I was hoping you were listening. Yes,
just absolutely go. Right now. Now, I've taken a taxi cab in my lifetime in every major city in the United States. Okay. I don't want to be in a taxi with a robot. I want to be in a taxi, especially in like New York or LA. I want a psychopath who has ingested large amounts of stimulus within the last 60 minutes driving my taxi cab, because it's the only way I'm getting where I got to go. Okay. I don't want some polite, well-mannered, rules-restricted robot trying to get me through New York City or Los Angeles, because I'm never going to get there. So robo taxis, yep, sorry guys, that one's just out. We can't do that. They're too polite. They're going to follow rules. We don't need that kind of confusion in our lives. We need crazed maniacs hopped up on gallons of Red Bull, cutting through traffic, running over pedestrians so I can get to my meeting. Okay, so end of discussion. Let's hear no more on the topic.
Okay, fair enough. I'm going to read, before we do, first of all, Tim, that was absolutely brilliant. I really appreciate that. We are going to highlight here something that the producer said. By stimulants, he means coffee.
Or Red Bull. Now, shame on all you. Shame all you guys with those bad minds going in that direction.
Okay. It is way too early to be joking around this much. All right, Tim, thank you for settling the debate there. I'm still going to watch how this shakes out. I'll probably dip my toe and participate in it, but I got patience on that. All right. What do you got for us today, my man?
All right. We're going to tackle two topics today. First is the 13 Fs. We got all of the rest of those in last week on the 15th. Of course, everybody likes to bring it in over the top. And we've seen all the discussions, right? I'd like to be wrong about this, but I never am. We talked about what Warren Buffett bought. We talked about what Bill Ackman bought. We talked about what Carl Icahn bought, what Kathy Woods bought, and asininely, can I say that? Well, I just
yeah, oh yeah.
I don't know. We talk about what Michael Burry bought. Now, Michael Burry is he's a brilliant mind. He is unique over the last 30 years in the investment game, right? Nobody's done what he's done. He even got Christian Bale to play him in a movie, for God's sakes. That's how good this guy is. However,
that's going to be funny, actually.
he takes deep value to a whole new place. He's trading deep value, right? His average holding period is a month. Now, we get the 13Fs 45 days after the end of the quarter. Knowing what he did 45 days ago is like knowing what Paul Tudor Jones did 45 days ago. There's odds are it's ancient history. So studying that and making investment decisions off of that is kind of a waste of time. So like everything else, 13 in today's world, 13F research can be really valuable and you can steal lots of ideas. Idea piracy is one of my favorite things to do, but you got to steal from the right people. And if you're stealing from, Warren Buffett, for example, or Bill Ackman, we'll do Ackman because Buffett's a special case. But Ackman, first off, when he has an investment and he buys it, he writes a 130-page slide deck and sends it to everybody he ever met, and then it's announced in the 13F. So this thing's been picked over and perused, and everybody's kind of seen it. And that they wanted it, they bought it. They probably made the stock go up. It's like plundering a ship as a pirate that's already been attacked 5 times. Right? There's just kind of nothing. There's no squeeze left in the juice there, or no juice left in the squeeze.
Reverse that. Yeah, that's perfect.
Right. We've got to really be digging in and finding those unique firms that don't care about publicity and are just sitting there grinding out returns month after month, year after year. And after 30 years, I'm pretty good at that. We do a lot of digging. We find some fantastic ideas. So I want to share a few with you today, unique asset management firms, what they've been buying and what they've been doing. Now, first up is one that I just discovered within the last 6 months, Harbor Asset Management. This is a very interesting firm, Ryan.
It's not a ticker, is it? No.
No, it's not a ticker. They're registered out of New York, but their actual office is in an office park in Asheville, North Carolina. They manage.
Is it still there?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
No, we drove through Asheville. We drove through that part of the country coming in here from because we stopped in Memphis on the way in.
Mm-hmm.
And the rebuilding up there is really impressive. How far along it's coming, and Asheville took some serious damage, but they're getting back up on their feet pretty quick.
That's really good to hear. Really good to hear.
So anyway, Harbor, they kind of do a little bit of everything. They do consulting, they do investment relations, they do lending, they do some private equity type stuff. There's just not much they don't see because they're seeing it as a lender, as an IR provider. And by the way, as an IR provider, they take their pay in 144 stock that they can't sell. Not all of it, but most of it. So that kind of puts everybody on the same side of the table there. It's a great business model. So these guys have accumulated positions in companies that they've consulted for, lended to, arranged private equity financing for, or venture financing, or served as an investor relations. And they are shooting the lights out, to say the least. They're just absolutely piling up numbers, crushing the overall market. And it's not kind of rocket science. They're buying when stuff is down and they're holding it for a long time. Their biggest positions, and again, not rocket science, right? Comcast, Dole, DOLE, fruits and vegetables, Bill.com, a company that I'm always really happy to see from Bill.com show up in my email box, Uber, EPD, which is Enterprise Product Partner, the big midstream energy asset company. So they're not doing anything, Microchip, MCHP, Confluent, CFLT. Basically, they're making their money because they're buying this stuff when it's on sale, and then they're just holding it for a really long time. Often they're getting it they're getting it as restricted stock, so they can't sell it for a really long time. It's like saving your cash in an old coffee can where the only way to get their money is to stick your hand down through this jagged hole with rusty edges. They're going to rip your arm off as you try to get the money out. You're going to tend to leave it in there. It's your last resort that you tap. So these guys just have fantastic businesses that they've accumulated stock for, and they just don't really seem to sell very often. And it's worked for them, and they've piled up huge numbers. And again, you don't run out and just clone these guys, but this would be my watch list of stocks that maybe I want to buy when the market pulls back. Uber, Bill.com, Comcast, Dole, all of these, emulating these guys would seem to make an awful lot of sense.
Okay, so a lot of tickers there already. I think I missed some. I've got CFLT, EPD, MCHP, Uber. What's Bill.com? Is it BILL?
BILL.
So Bill Holdings. What was the last one that I'm missing there? I think I'm
Dole, DOLE.
DOLE. Thank you. Okay, so I should have them all here. I'm going to keep this list and I'll post it here at the end, Tim, just to make sure we get them all.
We're going to have a monster list today. So I mean that's just the way it goes, because we got a lot to talk about here. So
Sweet.
Harbor Asset Management, anyway, they're doing some really unique and interesting things, and they're worth paying attention to. Okay. Then I want to come around and excuse me for a second, because I got to catch up with myself here. Black Diamond Asset Management. Nobody's heard of these guys. You can ask around and ask around. Nobody knows who they are. They do a phenomenal job. They're primarily credit investors. They do most everything through a credit and a credit lens. So, and by the way, that's one of the best ways to analyze an equity is through a credit lens. A lot of folks have gotten very, very rich doing that. But they bought a couple companies this last time that are really interesting. And my favorite here is Magnera, MAGN. And Magnera was just a recent, it's been spun off a bunch of times, so let's put it that way. But they make absorbent hygiene products, protective apparel, wipes. You have so much of this company's stuff in your house. It's Huggies diapers, it's female products, it's Clorox wipes, all of that. And they're in the food and beverage industry, but it's just absorbent paper and absorbent products. Anything that's made out of that, they've got some, you've got some in your house and they make it. It's not this huge, fast growing company, but it does, produce steady revenues. It's going to produce a ton of cash flow. There's been a bunch of smart money coming in, buying this stock. And I'm just, there's the, and again, remarkably, I just seem to be picking all North Carolina companies here. They've been hit by some of the ongoing uncertainty with tariffs and a lot around that. However, their focus is on generating free cash flow, and they have been really good at generating free cash flow this year and using that to build shareholder value. They sell all over the world. March year to date, their post-merger adjusted cash flow is about $58 million. So and that's just for the first quarter. This is going to be a debt paydown story. Okay. And I absolutely love debt paydown stories. They're going to be using cash flow to pay down debt, and every dollar of debt that they pay down that was used in the most recent merger, and that was the Berry Products, their paper products division, and PH Glatfelter, I believe was the name of the company. I'm sure I said that exactly wrong, but they merged those two businesses to create this one. Guys, it's a really, really good business, and the customer list is kind of a who's who of consumer products.
So are we thinking that this might, this thing looked like this traded around pretty good in 176 to 250. We think this has a chance of actually getting back here?
Yeah, I think that over time, and look, this is not one that you're going to stick in your portfolio and be rich by next Tuesday. Over time, the debt pay down and cash flow growth on this stock has the potential to turn it into just an absolute monster. So, do I think we could get 4 or 5 times our money off of this? Yeah, I really do. If you're a patient investor.
2 directors, Brandy's highlighting one of them here, 2 directors recently buying here on the open market.
Yes.
And I remember what you told us about what buying versus selling on the open market here. Brandy highlighting one worth about $250,000. The other one here is about $380,000. These are both recently in May here. So,
yeah. And look, their customers are, it's Clorox, it's Procter & Gamble, it's Kimberly-Clark, it's Church & Dwight. I haven't figured out what Keurig Dr. Pepper is using of theirs yet, but I'll get to it because they're using them. Cardinal Health, of course, and its eye wipes. So like we've got eye wipes and face wipes and paw wipes for our dogs. Okay, guarantee you almost all of them, or at least some of them, came from this particular company. So it's baby and adult care, it's healthcare, it's disinfectant, personal care wipes, it's bounce, it's the dryer sheets,
Yeah.
all of that stuff. They're the source material and
Interesting.
manufacturer on this stuff. This is a business. It's not going to be overly interrupted by tariffs. It's not going to be it's internet resistant, to say the least. Um, the the most likely scenario here, given who the shareholder list is on this thing, that you're going to get a few years of debt pay down. And when the debt pay down comes in and gets to a reasonable point of view, there's a PE firm, a private equity firm, that's going to come in and take this thing out and use their own leverage model to build it up.
Okay.
Okay, so that's just kind of, it's not the most exciting business that you're ever going to see, but it really is a pretty good business.
I mean, a move from 12 to, I'll be even conservative, a move to 12 halfway up this to 125 is exciting to me. I'll take a 10 bagger if that's what
yeah, I mean, the 10 bagger's longer out, but a 2 to 3 bagger just seems, and you hate to use the phrase, but it seems like a layup to me.
Yeah. By the way, we did some research here for you. 13, and another reason why 13 joins a little bit later, it gives him more time to do crack research like this. Keurig Dr. Pepper uses MAGN for coatings on their K-Cup rounds.
There we go. There we go. Thank you, 13.
Yeah, and Big B's said it could be that they use them in their K-Cup filters. So, okay. Oh, I like this. I like this a lot.
I hate K-Cups so much that I was not even aware of the possibility of that. But okay.
Yeah, I'm an espresso guy myself, so I'm with you on that one.
Yeah, it's my wife grinds the beans and does all that. It's we have outstanding coffee around this joint. It's fantastic. Has nothing to do with me, but we don't like K-Cups as a result. The other interesting buy, and this is we've seen a lot of this buying in the REIT market too, and that's casinos. Because Black Diamond was buying quite a bit of Wynn Resorts in the quarter, and they've had a long history with it. WYNN.
Yep. I love this stock.
Yeah, I mean, they're in Las Vegas, they're in Boston, they're in Macau, and I'm sorry, but the Chinese and Asian population as gamblers, that's a fantastic market. I mean,
yeah, it is.
It's just been phenomenal. They've got the relationships with the Chinese government that are should keep them in business in spite of increasing tensions between the two countries. They've been there for a long time. So just another one worth considering. And we've seen some interesting buying, and I'm a massive bull on casino REITs.
Okay. Really quickly here on Wynn, I used to trade this a lot. I don't have a long-term position in this. I used to trade this a lot. If Tim, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that this is the best U.S. asset that has exposure to Macau. There are a couple of others, but I believe this one is best in class.
Yeah, no, I absolutely think you're right about that.
And on top of that, I mean, look, if anyone's gone to the Wynn in Vegas, it's an extremely impressive hotel. I think this is a very, very well-run business. I like the exposure here. I've traded this with great success in the past. The option trades on this are absolutely phenomenal. In fact, we might have to ask Anne-Marie about that on Friday. Anyway, I know I'm kind of digressing here. I love this one too, Tim.
That's okay. Yeah, Black Diamond's just got that reputation of coming to these things through the credit angle, right? And if the credit's good, then that lends support to the idea that the equity is probably good, because all the factors that make a good credit report, the ability to pay your bills, free cash flow to grow the business, to meet your interest expense, to cover your debt, everything that makes for a really good credit rating makes for a really good business. So coming at it from that angle is often, it's one of my favorite ways to evaluate a company, and I won't buy a company where I haven't also done the credit analysis. So Black Diamond's approach makes a lot of sense to me.
Okay. Love it.
All right. Next up is Ancient Art out of Austin, Texas. founded by Quincy Lee. Quincy Lee worked for Rackspace, a technology company, and he kind of basically looked around at the world back in the early 2000 and said, I think I understand this business a lot better than a lot of the people I see investing money. And so he started Ancient Art. It is the advisor to Teton Capital, which, if you look at the separate track record, it's done very good. And they've just very quietly, I mean, Ancient Art, it's not, well, I'm really concerned about what Tiger Global and Kathy Woods and Ancient Art are doing this quarter. No, it's not one that's going to come up. You're probably not going to hear this one on CNBC today. If you hear Quincy Lee's name, it's because of his incredible art collection that he has shared with several museums around the world. But this guy is truly just blowing the doors off of the market continuously. And again, let's come back up here and look at exactly what their buys. They were not real active last quarter. They bought 2 stocks. They bought, bear with me one second. They bought some Vital Energy, that's VTLE.
Okay.
And let's just kind of just take a quick look at that. It's oil and gas, E&P, and as we all know, nobody's ever going to use oil and gas again because we're all going to get in one of Elon's magical sun sparkle taxi cabs and ride it off to Nirvana. Except that's not really going to work.
Sparkle taxi cabs. Okay, was not ready for that, but that was primo.
So right, this is out of Tulsa, doing business pretty much in the Permian Basin. And just looking through here, they've been doing tender offering for their debt, so they're paying down debt. Growing earnings nicely. Going to be a huge flip. Now, I don't know who the analyst is on this thing, but if this guy's not stoned out of his gourd and he's anywhere close to right, the company lost some money last year. They could make over $4 this year. So anything that comes close to that, and you're looking at a substantially appreciated stock from here. And again, just looking at the earnings highlights, they've been paying down debt. They're generating cash flow. They're paying down debt. They're being pretty smart about the way they're spending their capital expenditure, given where oil prices are. 90% of their oil production is hedged at $71 a barrel. So they don't have quite as much of a problem with lower oil as some of the other companies out there. So well-positioned company. Again, not going to fall out of my chair if this particular one gets bought out sometime. And we do see that the CEO of the company just bought $100,000 worth of stock. And their largest outside investor also just bought about another $88,000 worth of stock. So
almost 89. Yeah.
Yep. A little bit of insider buying going on there, as well as some very smart money institutional buying.
Okay. Love it. VTLE. What else you got?
Well, he only bought one other, and I can't say the name, so I'll just give you the ticker. It's VLRS. And if I'm not mistaken, this is airports.
Controladora Vuela Company.
Right.
Yeah. You're right. I can't either. I'm sorry for butchering that.
This is transportation
language I just smoked.
Yes, exactly. This is airports and air services, particularly Mexico. Great business. We've run across this company several times. There is weak U.S.-Mexico travel demand. Big shocker at the moment. But again, decent business, smart money buying, definitely out of favor at the moment because the company is seeing some pressure. I'm sorry, it's not airports. This particular one is an airline. So interesting purchase. It's a Mexican-owned airline. It's trading down at $4.27, down from over $9 not all that long ago. So definitely appears to be seeing some value in the shares.
Okay.
So again, the Ancient Art was not doing a lot of buying this quarter. If I go and look, they were doing a little bit of selling. They sold out all of their DESP, and they sold out some Ally Financial, some Interactive Brokers, uh, but they weren't real active in the quarter at all. But just the fact that they were buying those two is kind of interesting.
That IBKR is probably just a registering. I mean, this thing has had a huge run.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah.
It's been a great stock. So, and the next one up, I talk about this one every quarter, and you guys have already forgotten it since we talked about it in that last quarter. I'm highly confident on that, and that's Brave Warrior Advisors. This is Glenn Greenberg. He's a legend in the value investing circles, which is why nobody's ever heard of him, because value has underperformed so long that nobody really cares anymore. But Glenn has sat here, and in spite of the fact that value investing has been out of favor and has not done well, he has consistently crushed the overall market, even over the last 5 years where value's been way out of favor. In fact, he's earned 50% premium over a very high market rate of return. As just looking at the 13F filings, his public security portfolio has averaged about 25% a year. This guy has been doing these numbers since the 90s. And you're not going to see him on TV very often unless somebody's really strapped for guests. But this guy has been around. He lectures some, I believe, at Columbia, and is one of the best investors of our time. And like nobody's paying attention to him, which is just fine with me because now you and I can steal his ideas. So
Perfect.
He was buying the very top buy, and this is really interesting. SLM Corporation. Just pull the that do not get on cooperative now machine. This is student loans. They provide and administer student loans, which is a controversial business to say the least. These are private student loans, not necessarily the government-backed ones. It's an interesting business. I don't know how else to put it. The default rates have been climbing. The cost of college is up in the air, but the stock has taken off. It's just continued to move higher. So he was buying it in the first quarter of the year, I assume, on that sell off to 24, and it's already back up to 33. So it's not one that I would rush out to buy, although that is a pretty uptrend on the chart.
Sure is.
Maybe if you're a momentum trader, you buy it with a tight stop at that gap there between 32 and 32.50. But on a pullback, especially concerns around credit, this is one that you might want to consider adding to your portfolio. And then he bought one. This is kind of a controversial one. It's a spinoff, Millrose Properties.
Ticker?
MRP. And this was spun off by Lennar. And it is a bunch of land. Okay. They have all this land that Lennar put into it, and they're selling it off to home builders. Now, the real problem, it looks like it's trading at this huge discount to book value, and that may be accurate, but it's land, right? And land is really expensive right now. So our questions around this have been, what is the land worth? Can they continue to sell enough land to pay the dividend? So there is strong demand from home builders right now, because if you want to buy a house, there's very few existing homes on the market. You kind of, I mean, I'd say it, but we got this house that we got in North Carolina, which had everything that we looking for, and we only got it because the guy that owned it for decades passed away, and we bought it from the kids. And most people are not moving right now. They've got a mortgage under 4%. They're over 55, right? The average home buyer now is 56 years old, up from 38. There's just the combination of affordability and rising mortgage rates has made it really hard for first-time buyers to be in the market. All the activity in the home building has been upper tier. As that shifts to lower tier, as it must, we're short 5 million homes right now. What does that do to the value of the lands? Um, to does it go up? Does it go down? What does it do to the payout? So we like this company. We like the business. We think it's a fascinating spinoff. We have not yet been ready to pull the trigger, and that's a statement that's very true, by the way, across the board for home builders and home building related companies. We know beyond a shadow of a doubt that there's a massive bull market coming in this stuff. There has to be, or a significant portion of the population is going to be living in tents, because at the same time, banks and most lenders have pulled back from lending into the fast growing multifamily market. So we just want to see how the changes play out, what happens with the economy and mortgage rates. And again, mortgage rates historically are not really all that high, but we're all anchored to 3% right now.
Right. Yeah, it's all
So,
relative.
right. This is a really interesting business, and it's, since the spin, it started off low. Now it's moved up and a little bit. We're interested in it, but we're not going to chase it. So,
Okay.
again, this is one on a bear market. I think I want to come in here, and I'm probably going to want to be a buyer of this. Now, having said that, take it for what it's worth, because Glenn's smarter than I am. So, and then Builder First Source, same thing. I mean, they're clearly more bullish right now because they also bought Lennar and D.H. Horton during the quarter. All new buys by Glenn and his team at Brave Warrior. So they're getting positioned ahead of me for a major boom, obviously, in home building, which is on your has to happen sheet. Um, I just think I'm going to be able to buy into it at a better price.
Okay.
So that's just a few 13F filings where these
That's
guys.
a lot.
That's a lot. And look, these guys are not earning index plus or minus. All right, these guys are all doing up right, because 20% is sort of my cutoff. If you're not up around 20% compounded over time, I'm really not that interested in stealing your ideas. Right? It's like, if I'm going to take boxing lessons, I'm taking them from Muhammad Ali. And if I'm going to steal ideas, I'm going to steal it from the very best, not the most popular. So
makes sense to me.
That's kind of where. Now, next up, and I'm eating up a bunch of your time this morning, Ryan, but I did warn you. So back in 2013, there was a study done by Professor Robert Novi Marks, who I believe is at Rochester University in Rochester, New York. Um, Novi Marks is a brilliant guy. I've interviewed with him, had several discussions. He's done some incredible research over the years, and he's a machine, by the way. He just is constantly researching and publishing, and I don't agree with all of them, but they're always worth consideration. They're great ideas. But back in 2013, he produced a paper that did not get the publicity that Piotrowski's F-score paper got in 2000, but it was as important and as profitable. He did a paper called The Other Side of Value, the gross profitability premium. What he showed was that value is an important factor. However, gross profitability is just as important and just as rewarding. And oh, by the way, you could actually combine value with gross profitability, and you got some bingo magic going on. What's really interesting is over the last decade or two, we've heard, oh, quality investing, that's the way to go. You need to worry about quality. And here's my magic 97-point quality checklist. And the thing is, quality has one definition: it's gross profitability. That's been lock, stock, and barrel, absolutely proven. Now, he got together with another professor, and they went back and they did another study. And it's just profitability retrospective. What have we learned? And here's what he found: profitability matters more than you think. It is the quality factor. You can throw everything else in the quality equation formula out the window. If you have profitability, you will replicate and even exceed everything that the so-called quality factors have given you. I'll show you what I mean by that here in a second, and what the highest quality firms are in the country as measured just by profitability. If you understand how important profitability is, and you add it to momentum, and you add it to deep value, it improves both. Now, Ryan, this is important because I know a guy that's done that,
Yeah, me too.
right? He took and he makes sure that all of his momentum companies have strong, excellent fundamental momentum and are profitable, and the profitable is growing. And they do the same with their deep value situations. He's a really good looking guy, tends to pick out green shirts even in the dark. That's how talented this guy is. All joking aside, our trade alert service does exactly that. We've always relied on profitability, because it's part of the credit analysis, and it is part of our fundamental momentum analysis. So a lot of the Novimarks research is already available to you in Benzinga through the trade alert service for
Awesome.
for the low price of whatever it is we're charging this week. I forgot. So as you go through this study, and I saved you the trouble of reading it because it's dense and there's lots of math, but it explains so much about where the real returns are in the market. Um, if you look at value and why it's underperformed, it's because the traditional definition of value does not include profitability. Once we add in profitability, all of a sudden, value, um, what was the movie Heartbreak Ridge, where recon kicks butt, value kicks butt. Just making sure I've got the right one here. No, here we go. Using deep value with profitability, just two really simple factors, right? We're going to take the most profitable companies, and then we're going to define value using enterprise value to earnings before interest and taxes, right? PE ratios are a work of fiction. They should be nominated. I'm going to skip the really bad joke that just came running through my mind. They should be nominated for the Pulitzer Prize in fiction every year, because a good accountant can make earnings whatever they want them to be. When we take profitability, gross profit as a percentage of assets, and we pay a low enterprise value that accounts for all debt, all cash into the business, everything, and earnings before interest and taxes, in other words, before the accountants got their hands on them, then we have a really accurate prediction of what we're paying for the cash generated by the business. Now, using just this simple definition, you don't just beat the market, kids, you slaughter it. All right. Using a 3-month rebalance, we go in and check to make sure your companies are still cheap and they're still they're still profitable, generating the cash. You make a lot of money. This is the only way to put it. You outperform in that, and I've got 5 years of data here. I can run this for as far back as 25, and we'll do that later. But we just did a quick and dirty on this last night for everybody. It's beaten the market every year, including 2022, when it actually lost a little bit less than the market and a lot less than the Nasdaq. And just coming in and hitting, look, we're going to stack up. We're going to stack up some filters, some tickers now. So, and we're not going to have time, otherwise Brian will get really mad at me, to go through them all. So I'm going to give you the tickers for these particular stocks.
I'll note them.
Okay, ready? OPFI, OPFI. Been on the list forever. People have made a lot of money with this one already. Sally Beauty, SBH. Mercury General, MCY.
Sorry.
At Sam Boy Harry.
Yeah, your P's and your B's are very tough to discern. So
I will use phonetic spelling for you.
Genetics. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Mercury General, which is Mary Charlie Yancey, MCY. Table Track, which is actually really an interesting business to me, because they do systems that automate and monitor casino table game operations, and they're operating all over the world. It's a pretty cool little business, it's very profitable. It's trading at less than $5. So that's, kind of one that you might want to have in your in your quiver there.
Sorry, what was the ticker?
Tom Charlie.
Okay.
Then Novavax, they develop a product that's not controversial at all, vaccines, but they are profitable. They work through a Swedish subsidiary. They're working on vaccines for both known and emerging disease threats.
This is the one that doesn't do the mRNA vaccine,
right.
though, right?
That is correct. And it's Nancy Victor Apple X-ray.
Yeah, this one I know.
And look, here's the thing, guys. It's profitable. All right. Not too many of these companies are actually profitable. And at some point, when we manage to get a step back of the politics on vaccines, look, most vaccines are useful, good stuff. Now, is that true of all of them? Well, I think the jury's out on mRNA, and you can agree or disagree with me because that's not what we're going to talk about today. This is a company that's going to benefit from the fact that vaccines will still be used, they'll still be developed, and this stock is ridiculously cheap. Okay. Still with me there, Ryan?
Still with you. What do we got next?
Okay. Verco Manufacturing Corporation. They do furniture.
Ticker?
Victor, Indigo, Roger, Charlie. And Cal-Maine Foods makes the list. Eggs, that's Calm, C-A-L-M.
Yep, that one I know.
Everybody keeps telling me eggs have gone down. Somebody forgot to tell the folks at the grocery store.
You should be going to Costco. I just paid under $7 for 18 of them.
Okay, well, I mean, I got close to that, but I guess I'm old. I'm anchored to $2.50 a dozen or something. Now, this next one, guys, is one that when the market goes sideways, I buy some of this, and I've got a friend that's been doing this along with me for years and years and years, and it piles up. It's a cash flow machine, and they pay the cash flow out. And boys and girls, it files a K1. Deal with it. Star Group, they do home heating products and home propane services. They roll up mom and pop dealers all over the country. They're incredibly price sensitive. They've got a fantastic dividend. They're wildly profitable. And the stock is currently yielding over 5%. So that's another one that we like quite a bit.
What was the ticker on that?
That is Sam George underwear. I don't know.
Yeah.
I was reaching for that one.
Yeah, you sure were, man, but that works. I didn't confuse it. Okay.
Sorry. One more. Perdocio Education. It's a for-profit American educational system. They do a lot of health sciences, businesses, some technology management. PRDO, I believe it. Yes, PRDO. Paul, Roger, Dynamite, Oscar is the symbol. Most of their programs are online, and they have a technical university out there in Colorado. And again, I happen to be a huge fan of the online for-profit education center because I think that the not-for-profit universities, especially the private ones, have failed us in a very major way.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I mean, I think the cost benefit of going and getting some type of engineering program or usable skill for $50,000 total is a lot more valuable than $250,000 for a music or art history degree.
Totally agree. With a side of indoctrination. I've often thought if I had a child right now, I would say, I'll make you a deal. You can pick any trade you want, and I will pay 100% of your school, and I will teach you how to trade stocks and invest your money. Or if you want to go to college, you're on your own. You assume your own debt, you pay off your own debt, you do your own thing. Which do you want? I would try and steer people into the trades. I feel like we don't have enough of that. There's plenty of ways. So there's been people in this group that have talked about working in the trades and then creating your own business out of that trade and being extremely wealthy that way. Totally support that. We've had that discussion a bunch of times.
Yes. Now, gross profitability. Now, here's the most profitable company. And if you change this thing one more time, machine, I'm going to beat you. There we go. Okay, here's the most profitable companies. If you buy these, you gain an edge over the index. It's not a huge edge because most of these are in the index. They're big companies. But here are the largest, most profitable companies. Now, keep in mind, the next time you read about all the fancy quality models with the 97-point checklists and all the filters and all the magic formulas that you mere humans could not possibly know, so that you have to rely on this other ding dong to give you the list of quality companies, listen to the list: Apple, Amazon, Meta, Walmart, Eli Lilly, Home Depot, Adobe, Lowe's, AppLovin, Nike, AutoZone, Autodesk, Coupang, Fastenal. The profitable companies are the companies that show up in the quality portfolios and the quality filters. They are, and it's just a ridiculously simple measurement. So you can add growth. Now you take this list of profitable companies and you can add growth filters, you can add dividend filters, you can do all sorts of fun things with the list once you have it. But the key factor to driving long-term returns, whether it's in conjunction with value or conjunction with momentum, is it's fundamentals, and a lot of that fundamental measurement is profitability. So it's a geeky study, but reading Novi Marx's work on profitability will make you a better investor. And you don't actually have to read it because I read it for you. But the formula is real simple. It's not rocket science, and it will find you those companies and keep you invested in those companies that are the most profitable. So,
Okay.
There we go. 40 minutes. I didn't, well, maybe a little over 40, but I didn't annihilate all of your time before the closing, just as much as I thought I could get away with.
We got to run, though.
Yep, you got to run. There's your Ticker Fest. We'll be back next week with some other cool stuff, guys. Thank you, everybody.
Tim, appreciate you. Tickers are in the chat, folks. We will check in with Tim next week. Tim, enjoy your green shirt. Have a great rest of your week.
You too, Ron.
That is Tim Melvin, folks. His departure leaves room for 1313. Hello, I'm sorry. I know that took a little bit longer than you're used to here. But let's get rolling. Okay, let's get rolling though. Let's get down to brass tacks. We did have some feedback here that we should start some of these movers earlier. That is the day that we ended up getting it, but it is what it is. Let's get through the movers. Let's blow through them. Some of these bigger stocks like Target, which is absolutely getting destroyed here in the pre-market. I'm sure we'll take a look at that a little bit when the market opens. Let's get through the movers because we are pressed for time.
Sounds good.
First one I've got here is, sorry?
I said, and good morning, everybody.
And good morning. First one I've got here is SGMA. Sigmatron International shares are trading higher after announcing Transom has offered to acquire the company for $83 million. Are we done?
No trade.
Bang.
302 is the takeover. 302 per share is the takeover price. We're at 293. Unless you want to park your money up there and just wait for the transaction to close, that's about all you're going to get. Is about 9 to 10 cents. So I don't think there's a trade here.
Okay. Next here is going to be EDBL. This is Edible Garden. This was a runner yesterday. I didn't see any fresh news here today. We did get a PR here last night. Quick look around the horn here on Edible. 7.63% of the float shorted with 1.3 days to cover. Your 100-day average volume is 1.5 million. Today it's 33.5 million. What do you think on ticker EDBL, 13?
Yeah, they launched Kick yesterday, and they had that partnership with Amazon to help grow their brand. So this is still moving off of that. The company does need cash, even after they have this natural shrimp acquisition deal that's going to be putting $3 million on the balance sheet. It still looks like at some point they're going to have to raise cash, even after that because that was an all stock transaction. So they ended up with $3 million from that company. So even after that, I still think they're going to have to raise cash at some point. But there's no filing that I saw out there or anything like that. So don't have that announcement. But it's just still moving on this news from yesterday, as far as I can tell.
Okay.
Levels for this. I've been keeping an eye on 705. Haven't quite got there yet. It got as high as 685 this morning. But 705 and 785 are going to be the next upside levels I'd be looking for if we do get this rise in price action.
Okay, real good stuff there. EDBL. Next on the list here is going to be HLYN, and you might not have covered this because it looks like this is running recently. We've talked a lot about this in the past. There's a news here on this today. Hyliion and some other company I'm not even going to try joined Saudi U.S. investment forum during the U.S. presidential visit, signing a strategic MOU for $1 billion in a business opportunity in the energy sector. This thing ripping here, plus 38%. We've actually seen this thing run quite a bit in the past. We should be familiar with that. 11.7% of the float shorted with 23.3 days to cover. Definitely has some squeeze potential. That days to cover comes on an average volume of just under 1 million shares. Today we've traded 4.5 million. The float's 138 million, so pretty thick by comparison to some of these other ones. What do you think here, ticker HYLN?
I think this company just really has this natural ability to run on half done deals. Like the last time we had this big move that took it up to the 200 EMA, this was on a letter of intent with Mesa Natural Gas. So now we have a memorandum of understanding, letter of intent, memorandum of understanding. We're halfway there with these things, but the market says, no, doesn't matter. Let's just go and rip this thing up.
The market is like a child that has zero patience and wants to get involved as soon as possible. That's what we're seeing here. Okay.
Now we also have some significant short interest here, almost 12% with 23 days to cover. So there is a bit of a squeeziness happening here too. Other than that, the float's pretty large. I don't know what to make of this one right now, but we'll keep it on our radar and see what we get as we approach the open.
Okay. Really good there. Next is going to be ASST. This is one that we have, I feel like we've been trading this for a month now. And that actually looks to be the case, going all the way back to the beginning of May here. Yeah, the first day that this thing moved was Tuesday, May 6th. So if I actually back out a little bit more here, this is a pretty interesting formation, right? We had a multi-day impulse move to the high, multi-day pullback that retraced 50% of it. Now we've set some new highs here in the pre-market. I guess the overarching question is, does this hold here? We take a look at some of the news. I don't see anything here. We had the Form 425. That was out yesterday morning. Don't see anything else new here. Short interest. 1.83% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover, comes on an average volume of 11.7 million. So plenty of liquidity here. We traded 12.5. The float's 14.2. What do you think?
Sorry, I was just getting distracted by the fact that EDBL just took a big nosedive on the release of a Form 8. So we'll get to that in just a second. ASST, they announced that there's an actual form that you can read all this if you're looking at owning ASST for a while. They released a Form 425 that outlines a little bit their partnership with 117 Castell Advisory Group. This is to source and evaluate distressed Bitcoin claims that the merging company Strive Enterprises has. ASST and Strive are merging. So they're partnering with this company to try and get Bitcoin at a discounted market price so that it can increase their exposure, because this is trying to be a Bitcoin treasury company. Now, what I found interesting about this form is that down at the bottom it says that they're planning on offering, or they're going to file a Form S4 so they can pay for the Bitcoin that they're going to be acquiring. So keep an eye out for a Form S4 or some other prospectus to come out from this company that's indicating that they're going to be raising cash to purchase Bitcoin, which will effectively dilute their float structure. So that's something to keep an eye on for ASST. But in the meantime, this thing is moving on just continued momentum. The merger, the Bitcoin, the whole Bitcoin angle. So as far as where this goes today, we've already hit a high of 1091 in the pre-market. This thing was this thing has gone beyond the 892 high that it put in earlier this month. I don't really have a whole lot of other levels except, here we go. So we're getting close to a 1050 level that was kind of established by in 2023. So that could be the next area I'd be looking for. It's about 1050 and then 1180, I guess I would say.
We
keep an eye
did
on
peak
this.
above that 1050 level here in the pre-market. We've since backed off of it, but that would be another level to watch here during the regular session.
But yeah, just keep an eye out for that the prospectus or the Form S4. They're going to have other forms that are going to send out so they can inform their shareholders about it, and this is going to go in for a vote. But just keep in mind that they are going to have to raise some capital in order to pick up that the Bitcoin that they're trying to claim here. It's about 175,000 Bitcoin worth, which equates to roughly 8 billion at the current price right now.
Okay, real good there. Next on the list here is going to be GCL. This is GCL Global. This did pop above 4 and came back in. Do we have any news on this? No, looks like we had some forums early yesterday morning, but nothing new since then. This just kind of looks like a prop job, to be honest. Nothing there on the short interest. Average volume here, a paltry 126K. Today we traded 16.5 million. That explains the pop and the drop. Float here is 45 million. Is there anything on this one?
This is one that is a entertainment company out of I think Asia. Maybe it might be a Singapore company. I'm not sure. I didn't look into this one too much, but I do remember seeing this one come up. I think it was yesterday, and I believe we kind of looked at it as a bit of a pump job. I didn't really have any read on their financials. Their balance sheet showed some, but nothing from their income statement. It's not looking too great right now, but that doesn't mean that later on it couldn't just out of nowhere have a massive rise like we got in the pre-market this morning. Took it up to 420. So if we do get something like that, we have the VWAP, which I currently got at 308. That would be one of the first levels I'd be watching for if we start to get a rise. So let's just call it 308. $3 in VWAP.
Okay, sounds good there. Next, KDLY. This is one that we've traded recently. This making some more movement here today. We also do have some news here. Kindly MD shares are trading higher after the company announced that shareholders approved a merger proposal with Nakamoto Holdings. See if we have any more. The transaction is expected to close in Q3 of 2025.
Okay. I didn't cover this one. It was like kind of further down.
This fits into the Bitcoin treasury thing that we have been talking about. Nakamoto is a Bitcoin treasury company building a global portfolio of Bitcoin native companies.
Yeah, so you'd have to read that Form 8 for some more details. I didn't look at this one too closely, unfortunately. So I don't have all the different angles to how this merger is going to go through, but it's moving right now. So let's take a look at the chart and see what we got. So it's been trying to get above VWAP all morning. We did have one pop up to 21.45, and that came right back beneath VWAP. Had another attempt about 20-30 minutes later, still rejected. So the next thing we're going to want to see is if we do move back up to VWAP again, we're going to need to see a breakthrough this time. Or I would think that third rejection at the VWAP might send this down lower, probably towards the 17 handle, down where the 65 EMA is. So this will be one that I would just wait for the open and see what it starts to do. But we do need to recapture that VWAP if we're going to be seeing any more upside today.
Okay. Did you have anything else on your list here? We have 8 minutes left.
Okay, so the things that I got here were CFSB. That's a takeover as well. We already covered SGMA. There was another one that was moving that was a penny stock, and I just thought, well, let's take a look at the news is. That's BDSX. Insider buying is why it's moving. And that's about all I've covered today.
Okay. Couple of other things. We were talking a little bit about QBTS. As I mentioned yesterday, I actually took the short via puts. This is leaking. Brandy, we'll see if we end up getting that. Your 16 puts might be pretty good, it looks like. We'll see how this ends up shaking out here. Do you want to talk a little bit about Target? Do you want to look at any of that? I covered PanW earlier here today, but we can take any tickers you folks want unless you have any big cap stocks that you want to take a look at here. I'll start here with Target. Again, Target had kind of a wild morning, right? Initially, this thing popped 5%, then went negative, then tried to go green again. Now reality has set in. Target getting absolutely destroyed here. It slips ahead of its Q1 earnings miss. The outlook is cut amid slowing sales. They tried to blame the backlash of the DEI stuff. That just... I don't think that's going to go over well here. Lion, you had said earlier, Target is getting close to a 10-year low around 85, and it's clearly bottoming. So maybe 85 is going to be one of your levels there. I'm not going to trade this stock. I've got a fundamental issue with the CEO and who he is and all of that. So I'm not even interested in this. I will totally pass on this. But Lion, 85 looks to be a buy spot for you. 13, you have any spot on the chart here?
I see a trend line, but this doesn't look good to me. It looks like there's some more downside that could possibly happen here. We're down to the 2020 low. Looks like so. If we go much further, then I'd be looking at some targets beneath 80. To be honest, like 78 looks pretty good to me. No guarantee that there's going to go down there, but because I haven't taken a look at this or their report, but just seeing that they guided lower, that's not great. I think more downsides still to come with this one. Just don't know exactly how much, but I think 78 looks like a pretty good level if we do continue to go under 90.
Okay, going all the way back to 2017, even with the huge run up here, your volume point of control at 71.5.
Okay.
So I do think it could go back down. They're really good stuff. Okay, let's see. UNH, Dollar General, and Archer being mentioned here. Let's just start with UNH because that's been such a big one here recently. More bad news on UNH. So here we are. We're down another 6%, almost just shy of 6%, down about 18 points here in the pre-market. Looks like we're really going to retest 300 here to the downside. Actually looks like we peaked beneath that already here today. Now we're rolling back over to those lows. The absolute lows that we've printed, let me turn off the volume here and get it for you. Down here just shy of 250 on UNH. Maybe this is in play here. United Health Group shares are trading lower after HSBC downgraded the stock from hold to reduce and cut its price target from 490 to 270. There were some more reports here. United Health on the Guardian report on payments to nursing homes says, quote, the U.S. Department of Justice investigated these allegations, interviewed witnesses, and obtained thousands of documents that demonstrated significant factual inaccuracies in the allegations. So they've actually responded to that. Brandy, this is what you were mentioning earlier here today on this. So this is a tough one. I know we want to play this for a bounce. I totally get it. We've also talked, I think there was insider buying on this recently. Indeed, that there was. I don't know. Keep in mind that insider buying stuff that could have a long-term time horizon. I'm not sure all of the bad news has been fleshed out on this one. I'd be very nimble if you're going to trade this one. This is continuing to move to the downside. 13, you got any levels that you're looking at here?
Geez, I mean, well, I thought there would be more time for this to go higher because I'm, looking for that rebound. But this has only been, a few green days, and now we're starting to turn around. So it's not enough time. Anyway, I'd still be looking at where we were bottoming out at, which was about 250. That's going to be that's going to be a level for me. Probably even beneath that. Gosh, where do we go beneath that? I guess 210, 215. I just really don't know because it's just, like I said, I knew there would be more bad news coming out with this, and it'd have further pressure to the downside. I just don't know where this exactly this is going to end. We did get that clear reversal candle when we did hit 250. So that's going to be one of the things I'm looking for next is when we start getting some clear indication of another bottom. This still might be the bottom, to be honest, but I don't know how far this this news headline is going to take the stock down. So I really don't have levels, to be honest. I'm sorry.
It's okay, and that's what makes this tough. Like I get it. Lion here saying congressmen are buying this. I did see something. I think
are they okay?
Well, I think MTG bought some of this recently, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see if we have anything updated here. Yep. Yep. And then I don't think I have a reported date here.
Well, I don't know about
MTG. I needed to add
MTG. She's she was adding.
That's the only one I can remember. Since May 12th. There's been a number of them. Bruce Westerman, John Boozman, Julie Johnson, Dan Newhouse, John McGuire, and Marjorie Taylor Greene. all Congress people that have been adding the stock. And again, that has been since May. Actually, excuse me. I beg your pardon. I made a mistake there because I trying to rush it. And this is what happens. Bruce sold his position, looks like at the lows. Julie sold her position, looks like at the lows. That means that John Boozman, what a name, and John McGuire and Marjorie Taylor Greene are your purchasers here in May. Looks like we actually had a couple more here. Jeffrey Shreve and Robert P. Brezahan also bought a little bit earlier in May 8th. Gilbert Ray Cisneros bought on May 6th here. So there has definitely been some Congress people buying this. Again, factored in. This continues to leak here in the pre-market. I understand the trade. Just be careful with this. All right, we're open.
We'll have to get to some of those other ones as well.
Sorry about that. I know we were pressed for time here today, folks.
Yeah, I did want to cover some of those other ones too. Like Dollar General's been doing really well. Still expect that to do even better over the long period of time following some volatile trading, but I like that one long term.
Here's your Dollar General chart too. We talked about a couple of things here on Dollar General. 500-day at 117 3/4. Your gap fill up here at 122. So plenty of room north here on Dollar General if it continues this. We did a great job getting through the trend line, back testing the trend line. Now we're pushing away from the moving averages. Giddy up. The action here looks great.
All right. So,
EDBL, big pull right out of the open. That was the Form 8 that you were talking about in the pre-market?
Yeah, that they actually pulled in the pre-market, and they're kind of sideways right now. But yes, that Form 8 was the reason it came down. There's likely something in there. Let's see, issuance of the shares, common stock on exercise. So they're talking warrants here. Companies agree to file a registration statement at Form S3. So they're looking to So they're talking about issuing shares. So there you go.
That makes sense why it's
I
pulling.
was just talking about.
TSSI popping a little bit. I wouldn't say it's flat. I misread that. Sorry. This is popping a little bit on volume. Let's take a look at HIMS. You're mentioning that is ripping here. Should surprise exactly nobody. HIMS continues to do that. Here's the trend line that we're still battling on HIMS. This looks like a bull flag to me, doesn't it, 13?
Let me look at my chart.
On a daily? On HIMS, got a nice little flag pull, nice little flag being made right under this trend line here.
Maybe. It looks like it could be, but I'm just be a little bit cautious about the way the MACD is also looking.
Okay, that sure looks like a flag to me on the chart.
You might be right. You might be right.
We'll see. Still need this to get for more upside here. Still need this to get through that trend line. We'll see if it does that or if it flashes breaking down here. Okay, SGMA. That's the takeover. Walk. That's a penny stock. That's junk. Edible bouncing back here now, reclaiming 5 on that.
Came up to the 9 EMA on the 5-minute. KDLY is breaking through its VWAP. Looking for 21.45 as a good market high.
Yep. Nice job on those levels there too. 13 on KDLY. Sarepta here. This is actually moving out of the open here. This was higher in the pre-market. Sarepta Therapeutic shares are trading higher after the company provided dosing updates on one of its drugs. Will has mentioned, a couple of things going on here. EVLV, this is one that Jay Rice has told us he is adding on dips. Let me know, Jay, if you're out there, by the way. I want to say thank you if you're out there. And then also CoreWeave. We saw that has been just an absolute ripper recently. Wow. More action here today. CoreWeave looks like it might try that $96 high from yesterday. And CoreWeave at this point, I think you're probably going to go for 100, honestly. QBTS calls coming in despite this trading down. My puts got smoked here, but they're really coming back. We'll see. Probably should have added to that position. That might have been a misstep on my part.
To answer the question, is GOOS drunk? No, they had earnings. Better than expected Q4. That popped them above the 200-day SMA. and looking like we're approaching some of the highs back from earlier this year, around 1150 to 1175, almost 12 actually.
Are these jackets still mega popular?
I don't know. Haven't had a need for a jacket up here in a while.
Okay, that was a really good answer. Us here in Chicago, we have several jackets. Call it a collection, if you will. Goose here, ticker GOOS, ripping to the upside. Jay is here. Jay, first of all, thank you for sending me your balls. I've got all of your balls right here. I held them to make sure that they were good. Your balls are definitely good. I can't wait to use these, so thank you for sending those to me. Y'all think I was going to be put off by that. Also, EVLV trimming over 6. Okay, so this is more of kind of a short-term play for you. Are you reloading that at all on the EVLV trade? Just kind of trimming, maybe loading on days where it's back in. Let me know how that works. Oh,
I've got to hold my tongue,
folks.
Got to hold my tongue, but
you
I
got
don't know.
to look. We're gonna. If you can't make fun of yourself, what are you even doing?
Well, what I'm doing is I'm watching KDLY go to my 2145 target.
WRD, this got mentioned here. This is We Ride, all that robo-taxi talk here. This is popping right out of the gate. Here's your KDLY going right up to your. What's your next target that you have?
Let me see here. Give me a second. It might be stupid, but we'll see. Let's.
That's what I'm looking for. QBTS continuing to get pummeled here.
Well, I'd have to look intraday for some levels on what happened during the 12th, but other than that, the only level I have is 3145, the high from that day. So, don't know if we'll even see that.
Okay, looks like we got some resistance right up there at the pre-market high.
Perfect.
KDLY that came back in. ASST, this looks like it's bouncing off of its VWAP. SGMA, that was the buyout one. I got to stop clicking on that one. Joe mentioning that Pan W continuing to get hammered. Are the option buyers finally winning? Yes. So yesterday they projected that this stock was going to move 7.4%. We're at 7.6% just now. Part of me wonders if this is a possible bounce spot. It also seems to line up with the 180 level. So we'll see here. Let's give Pan W a little bit. Maybe this does bounce here, just FYI. Also, it looks like we had some re-ratings here. Yeah, this is definitely a misprint here. Bernstein cut its price target on the stock from 290 to 250, I believe is what that is. Lowers price target to 225. No, okay, 225. So I think it was 290 to 225, right? 229 to 225. Excuse me. Let me actually report this.
Yeah, it looks like EDBL is trying to get back up to its VWAP. I don't know that it's going to recapture it, though. All right, let me go back over here. How's ASST doing? Lost VWAP out of the gate. Looks like that might go just continue lower. What else do we have here? GPUs. That's not doing a whole lot this morning. Any comment on WAC?
I made a comment on it earlier. It was kind of a smart ass one about it being junk. I don't know if that's what they're asking about. WAC's a penny stock that's just ripping here out of the gate.
Yeah, they just had an offering today, 50 cents a share, 10 million units. So I guess with that out of the way, have fun. That's what it's doing. Looks like it wants to try and get a dollar.
Chris, long Tesla here. So let's take a look here at Tesla real quick. I haven't seen anything notable or that I can really deduce from the option flow here today, but we'll see how that shakes out. Looks like Chris here long at 343. This looks like it is kind of holding this 343 level.
Highland
is knifing.
Still need to see that
Oh, God.
That 360 print, haven't got that yet. And Highland is knifing, you said?
Yeah, this pretty much round tripped most of its move already.
Any reason for it? Let me look.
I don't think there was any new news. No, this was all from the PR here this morning. ASST looks like that's battling with no, sorry, it lost its VWAP there. XPEV, this is a pop higher. XPeng shares trading higher after the company reported Q1 financial results. Total deliveries rising 330.8% year over year. Dustin, what can you tell us about option volume on TEM? Haven't noticed anything. Let me search my scanner here and see if we did have unusual call buying today. Not gigantic. These look like, anywhere between 25 and 50K trades. We did have one here. This is for July. This looks like the July monthly contract, 365 calls on TEM. That was an aggressive buy today. So that looks like an upside aggressive option transaction there. God, easy for me to say. Looks like we actually made a run 265 and backed off of that here earlier today. Interesting. That is indeed the monthly contract, 58 days to expiry on that. Those contracts, 770 ask. Also, as far as TEM goes, let's see. My gosh, the call buying is massively in favor. 7,000 calls bought versus 568 puts bought here today. So definitely. Oh, shoot. Where's 13? What the hell? There we go. 13, are you there? No? Uh-oh. Looks like we have an internet snafu problem with 13. Didn't even realize what was going on. Sorry about that. Okay. Morning, Amanda. Pan W moving up from that exact range that we just flagged. How about that? How about them apples? LAES getting a mention. Sorry, I'm so slow here. Lot going on right out of the open here. LAES, this is a nice move higher. Man, one of my buddies told me he liked this one. I didn't respond because I got sidetracked with something. I owe him a sorry. Smoked Tuna giving us something to watch here. TPET, TPET, and INDO. We can absolutely take a look at those. Here's your TPET. So this is actually sitting at the bottom end of the range here. Tuna, I see a trend line that pretty much jumps off the page on this. See if we can break that trend line. INDO was the other one that you mentioned. 13, you back?
Yeah, I hope for a while. Got to disclose it. Yesterday, started running into some more computer issues. Just randomly started crashing, despite me doing absolutely nothing to it.
So that is the most frustrating thing in the world.
Probably because of Windows security update. We
did have an update, didn't we?
Yep. So they screwed me over.
Well, I'm glad you're back. For one, glad you're back.
All right, so EDBL has halted the upside. We're approaching the consolidation from the pre-market, so that's going to be a bit of a task to chew its way through. But if it does, so looking for that 705 resistance area. Gosh, well, the SQQQ is really moving down, but the market's heading up, huh?
Yeah, you know what though, market. So I don't know. Yes, it's currently heading up. One of the things that I opened up here with my SPY analysis this morning is that I can't believe it, but it's doing exactly what I wanted it to do. I would be entirely unshocked here if we just kind of chop around. I said one of the first levels that we should be looking at, we're going to be this low here from Monday. That's at 586 and a quarter. Maybe just call it 586. So far, we've held that. I would imagine we stay probably between 586 and 596, but we'll see. We'll see. Yassine mentioning Pan W. We getting more of a bump there. Went right to that move, went right to that implied move and started bouncing. Looks like 13, you're not the only one that had headaches
Oh yeah.
from that last Windows update. Knock on wood, I didn't notice anything wrong on my computer. But
Well, I mean, yeah, it's not been great. And I was looking through the NVIDIA forum for any insight on their recent update they put out, and man, that thing is a toxic cesspool of hate for NVIDIA. Everybody's just cursing their name right now. They are not making gamers happy.
really?
Oh my
So
God.
you know what else? That what's interesting about that 13 is that I wonder how much impact the review manipulation that we shared the video from that you alluded to yesterday. I wonder how much of that is actually impacting this now. Then, I mean, if people are getting more and more mad, I got to imagine that's not going to go over well.
I'm getting close to just building an all-out AMD machine.
Oh my God!
I'm getting that close.
Buying calls on AMD right now. I'm just kidding. But I am actually looking at that option change. AMD stock price actually looks pretty decent here today.
Moving. Also, we get a big old pop with Rocket Lab. That just blasted over 26.
Okay, looks like Google is moving here. I think Lion mentioned that earlier. Amanda bought the dip on PanW. You love to see it.
Yeah, GPUs just blasted through its VWAP. Hit a high of 587.
That's actually on volume too.
Do it, 13. Build that AMD machine. Ivan, I'm not using NVIDIA's current drivers. I'm using the most stable one they have from December. And even that's still not 100% great.
You know what? You know what's interesting about this? Let me take a look at mine. My NVIDIA GeForce panel says that I have an update due here. I wonder which set of drivers I'm on.
And it's funny you mentioned that Buzz Lightyear, you're an all AMD build. I built a couple of AMD machines for my kids a couple of years ago. I've had absolutely zero problems with them.
Oh my God, I have to log into my account and do all this nonsense. I don't know any of these credentials right now.
Looking to push over VWAP.
Forget it.
It's trying to do it right now.
Forget it. We'll look into that later. Make it easier, NVIDIA. That's some bullshit right there. EDBL, as you just mentioned, totally recaptured that VWAP.
Yep, and it's going into that consolidation in the 6 to 650 area. We get through that. We're looking for we're looking for the pre-market high of 685 and then 705.
By the way, folks, Wolf, this is one that we had talked about recently. You're seeing here a massive move down. I believe this was bankruptcy.
Wolf speed?
Yeah.
Bankruptcy?
Yeah, Wolf speed. Equity likely to be wiped out in bankruptcy. WOLF minus 67.4% here.
Yeah, AMD does have driver issues too. I understand that, but I don't think their driver issues are causing full-on meltdowns of computers where their wires are exploding and fire and all this stupid stuff, and they're not missing ROPS or any of that stuff.
Yeah, Jay, this is a really good call. IBIT, there's been relentless call buying the last 4 to 5 days in it. I actually saw that too. Was looking into some of that. What do you think happens here on IBIT? I know Bitcoin trading up here today. Bitcoin actually looking pretty decent here today. How are you trading that, Jay? Are you just long IBIT? Are you following those big buys in there? Would like to know how you're handling that. Warby Parker, I actually didn't get to this. Warby Parker is going to join the smart glasses theme, I guess we can call it here. I just threw that article in the chat. Couldn't get to it this morning. Warby Parker trading higher here by about 3.5% after that pop yesterday. The high of that impulse move, 22 and change. We'll see if we can get back up there. We're about to retake 21 here. BDSX, that was that penny stock you talked about, right? Sure.
Yes, it did. The insider buying. Okay.
Market Sniper, really quick. I understand that there were some snafus finding the show here this morning. Looks like the stream was unlisted at some point, and it looks like when we started the stream, it did not start on X. That was a restream issue. Our producers have fixed it while we were live. We've had people in here from the beginning. I would suggest, in addition to liking and subscribing, which you should all do right now, you could also bookmark the stream, and then it won't matter. Anyway,
Yeah, I'll have to get with you later, Big of these. I don't know if that will solve my issue. It might, but I'm willing to try anything because I'm getting irritated with this. Anyway, GPUs still trying to get up to 6. SIDA, what is I saw you folks mentioning that as that getting halted.
I see people mentioning nuke again, which has me worried.
There is that's too early. I don't think that's the reason it's going down. So they did file to sell 11 million shares of common stock. I don't know if that ended up going through or not, but if it didn't, then that could be what is happening here. It is all to the downside. We might get that headline here in just a bit that they're making an offering. So we'll wait and see if that's what we end up getting here. But what's interesting about Warby Parker, I think I was just complaining about this yesterday about how I'm tired of these foldable phones and all the screens and everything. I want glasses to be my phone.
And then all of a sudden,
and then Google says, we have heard your call. And they announced the partnership to develop intelligent eyewear, compete with Meta and their Ray-Ban glasses. And apparently Apple's working on something now, which better late than never, I guess.
Walmart here, actually seeing some call buying here in Walmart. Also seeing some put buying here in Wynn. Let me see if that was isolated. That was one of Tim Melvin's calls here. Wynn traded lower a little bit. Yeah, that's the only trade here so far. Can't really gather anything from that, at least not yet.
Oh my God. I wasn't talking to you, buddy.
What?
So anyway, I had my phone next to me, and I was talking about the smart glasses, and I did mention Google, and so Gemini perked its ears up and said, "Oh, you wanted me." And as I was talking, it recorded everything I just said about the glasses, and then it just came up with a long ass description of what it wants to tell me. So I threw my phone because I didn't want to have to hear any of that.
I'm sorry for laughing at you, but man, we seem to be having issues. It is a schlump day. That is for sure. That is for sure. LAES, grats to everyone that had this. Actually, my buddy just texted me. In fact, I'll actually respond to his text here.
GPUs is holding above its VWAP. A little bit more volume, and we might be able to make that move through the session highs here and go up to 630, the pre-market high. Yeah, don't worry. I've got an outer box on that thing, so I can toss it around and it'll be fine.
I like how you threw it. That's my favorite memory of the Gemini AI now is 13 throwing it because the Gemini annoyed it.
ASST now halted to the downside. What's happening? Yeah.
HKND. Humankind. Is this a George Costanza thing? The Humankind charity? Some fake. What is this? I don't even have a description on this. I'm skeptical. Be careful with this. Up 48%. Pan W, you guys are mentioning. Boy, oh boy, that was good, huh? Pan W, right down to that implied move and a bounce. This is actually what, 3 points higher than that low? Yeah, 3-point bounce already here.
Fantastic, guys.
That is good. That is really good.
I just want to see what this news is on the ASST, and then who was that other one we were looking at? Was it EDBL or SIDA? I'm sorry, SIDA. Whatever those two that were halted down on, and we didn't get the news. I want to see what that news is. I'm very curious at this point.
CoreWeave here. This is insane. CoreWeave price target raised to 94 from 43 at Citi. Oops. You might have been a little off on that one. By the way, Lion, good call here on Target. Looks like that low here was, in fact, at $90. I know we didn't print exactly 90. We're bouncing here so far. We actually did just reclaim the VWAP. One of the things that we've been doing recently is just kind of drawing trend lines on this. I know. It's only a 5-minute, but those have worked here. Here's your trend line. We're approaching that. Maybe we do have a reversal here in Target. I'll let you folks hit that if you want.
Izzy, keep an eye on 450. That seems to be one of the next resistance areas that we have a candle from February 6th that went up to 447.5. So I'm just keeping an eye on 450 as a potential resistance level.
Thinking about it, yes, I will do that for you right now.
And then is he 525 after that? All right, let's see here. Looks like SQQQ is trying to turn around here.
Market is continuing to push higher here.
Look at there goes. Oh my gosh! Yes, there goes GPUs right up to that pre-market high and through.
Sideshow. I'm amused by this. I'm sorry and amused wrapped into one very strange emotion. I couldn't find you this morning, so I went to another site and it was awful. I asked the guy why he doesn't look at movers, and he said that's a dumb way to trade, so I immediately said goodbye, lol. This actually did make me laugh here. Again, I'm sorry about the tech issues. I'm not actually sure it was any of the people on our staff. Producer jumped into that immediately and has since resolved it. Actually opened up a support ticket with the company. So I don't even know if I can point a finger at anybody. I'm sorry about that. 2% better tomorrow. Your story is baller, though.
I would say please go inform that page or whatever that you were watching that we were just talking about GPUs going, and this is a mover, and oh my God, is it going? And we talked about how it looked like it was about to break out, and it did. And it's a mover. Did I mention it was a mover?
Yeah, you guys called this around a 560 handle. We're plus 110.
This is a dumb way to trade. What are we doing?
Dumb. We're dumb. We're dumb. We're dumb now.
I just made money. I'm stupid.
You know who's not dumb? E-Rock. E-Rock is rocking it. 2 for 2. WRD just paid the bills.
Nice.
Absolutely love that. Chris,
pay those dumb bills.
We had some technical issues that I think trace back to the site, not to a human being. Thankfully, our producers were able to fix that while we were popping off here. Hopefully, that doesn't happen again tomorrow. But that's what happened here this morning.
So
GPUs halted to the upside. ASST looks like that resumed. That was halted to the downside, right? ASST completing its pullback. Watch an $8 level there if it continues to pull back.
Did ASST open?
Yeah, it's open.
Okay. Let's see here.
Lion Atlas. I don't go anywhere else. I wake up, I get my coffee, and I wait for Ryan. I mean, I don't even know how to follow that up. That's awesome. We love all of you folks. This is one of the reasons why when I wake up in the morning, I'm like, I cannot wait to talk to the group.
Yeah, and I love that you guys are here with us every day too. I'm going to answer Dragon Slacker. I actually need to know why it is dumb. I think it's because in all seriousness, it's because of the risk factor. These things move so quickly, and it's really hard to trade these sometimes. So I think it's just the risk factor. You can really lose a lot of capital if you're not, trading these correctly. So I understand why he said that, but at the same time, I don't think he's right.
But if you're practicing good risk management, 13, as we show here on a daily basis, you can make some things happen. So just broadly painting something as dumb. Not the best way to go. Are you kidding me? This group is my therapy. I get lost on the weekends. Tom, I would find a golf course. That is one way to not be lost.
ASST getting some support from that 65 EMA, by the way.
Ryan, you're supposed to say that you wake up thinking about Lion Atlas. Well, I'll tell you what, I already talked about Jay's balls this morning, so I'm not sure if thinking about Lion right when I wake up would have been palatable, but that's a good mention there. Or Alpha. Nothing stands in the way of Ryan's show plus coffee. Actually, that's true. That's very true. I guess the only thing that will stand in the way is Memorial Day. Actually, I'll still have coffee that day. Okay. Anyway,
LAES hit a high of 434. Started to back off now. Not completely knifing, but it is taking
which one?
Slow approach down. This is LAES. We're looking for 450 in this one. It got to 434. Pulling back a little bit, but it's still above its VWAP. So as long as it can hold above VWAP, maybe even $4, there might be some more left in this to take it up to 450.
Okay.
So we'll see.
Okay. Looking at the option action.
Gosh, you know Trout Bum. You know the King's castration? I know that whole thing. My dad used to tell me that. It's hilarious. Follows to the queen. If I had them, I'd be king. And the king left because he had to.
I have no idea what you guys are talking about, but it sounded like it came from the heart, and I appreciate that a lot. Let me go to a chart here. Question here from Samel asking, what would be a good entry point here for Uber? So just to be very clear, what we're doing here is we're pulling this up and we're seeing what the chart says about a potential entry point. First thing, Samel, the action here, completely unsurprising, right? We've got a nice, very clear, crisp trend line here that the price action is running into. A move back down here. Quick look for me. 86 and a half. I actually have the 20-day here at 85.31. I think if we hold the 20-day, we probably trade back up. Let's take a look at the another time that Uber performed the same way, right? We traded up here pretty quickly. We rolled back over. We tried to find support at the 20, lost it, and then inevitably found support at either the 50 or the 200. They were both here, so it really depends on what you pick. Actually, that price discovery took a while. Once we cleared that out, we started to move higher. So first step here, I would watch what it does here at 85 and a half. Izzy, I would ask you, I know that you watch this stock on a regular basis. Perhaps you have some insight here that I can't necessarily ascertain. What do you think about a decent entry here for our chat member?
You know, 86 isn't looking too bad. If you think this is still going up and you just want this to cool off, 86 doesn't look too bad, in my opinion.
So Lion here mentioning that it looks extended and agreed. And so I think Samel is actually asking a great question here. Where is the level that we should look for if this continues to pull back? I think that's the patient, smart approach here. And I think that 85 and a half to 86 does look pretty good.
GPUs is open, just popped up to 688.
Okay, let me go back to the other workspace here.
Through 7 now?
GPU, sorry. let me put this on screen. This is absolutely ripping to the upside.
Goodbye.
My goodness.
Goodbye, GPUs. See, say hi to Starship for me.
All right. Target, by the way, had that little bit of a bounce off that 90 and a half. That's rolling here a little. Watch what happens at that 90 and a half level if we get back down there. 13, I'm going to step away for 1 sec. BRB.
Sounds good. So, Lion, you're looking at, okay, so you and I are pretty much on the same page here. We're looking at 86. I like 86. You say it needs to test 86. That's pretty close to the 20-day SMA, which by the time the price gets down there, it should kind of meet in the middle. You also have the close. You have in early May, you have before we had that move through 86, you had a couple of days of testing that area, but not closing above it, and then you got your breakout. So yeah, I like 86. I like 86. What else are we looking at here? WRD, nice day. I'm still keeping an eye on GPUs. That thing's pushing up to 8 now. That's crazy. Crazy stuff, folks. You still, somebody, I'm sorry I missed who was in that at 599, but are you still in it? Izzy, you're looking at 85 for Uber? That's fine too. Right, kind of mid 80s. Looks like a good spot for some support. Lots of movers, but really low volume, yeah. So we ride. This trying to come back up. Looks like 10, looks like somewhere around 10.80 to $11. Maybe even just $11 might be the spot of resistance. You have the 50-day SMA just right there at 10.99. You have this high from May right at 10.88. I'd be looking right in there. 10.80 to $11 is where we ride might in the short term find resistance. But kind of interesting inverse head and shoulders pattern it seems to be putting up here. That might even go through the 50-day SMA. So let's see what happens once we get up to 10.80, $11, if we get that breakout or not. It might reject the first time, but the second time could break through. So let's just see what happens there at 10.80 to 11 with re-ride, WR.
Good stuff. Izzy, I was asking you for a good entry point. Thank you for answering here. Izzy saying 85. Appreciate you, brother. E-Rock here. Yesterday was good. Today was great.
Yeah.
Yes, that we are trending in the right direction. Appreciate all of you. Have a great rest of your day. Likewise, my man. Likewise.
There you are. Eric was the one in GPUs at 550. I thought I saw somebody else at $5.99. I must be thinking of a couple of people. But
Yo,
man,
you
these guys are
guys,
killing
what's
it.
your plan to exit here? Good winner on your hands. Good stuff, group.
Yeah, 818 this thing ran up to. What a great break. And it just kind of was setting up over above the VWAP, which was perfect. And then it just blasted off through the highs. So let's take a look here at where this could end up going, because I don't have a whole lot of price action unless I zoom really close into here, because this thing's been reverse split to oblivion. Looks like it could go to 10. The next resistance area might be at about 860. But after that, shouldn't have too much trouble getting into the 9 handle. And it isn't until about 994, the high from the 8th of this month, do we run into another resistance area. So let's call it 990 and at $10.
Okay.
I think that's going to see the most resistance at if we can get through that other level at 850.
Yeah, I think you're right. I really think from that 850, 860-ish area all the way up to 10, you might have some significant resistance. We'll see how much of that we can clear out there. Really good stuff here from the group. Mo trimming half of his position after a $2 move. Well done, nice. Mo.
There you go. It was Mo that was in the 599. Well,
there you go. There you go.
Mo money.
Love this. Mo money. Oh, man. They just roll off the tongue here today.
Getting a mention from R Alpha about Warby Parker. Is this pushing up some more?
I'm sorry. I got distracted by Yassine, who is doing just an unbelievably good job quoting Rounders, which if you have not seen, I don't know what you're doing. John, this is an amazing movie with Matt Damon and John Malkovich. It's just hanging around. All it does is check. Pan W, look out, though. If this thing doesn't roll back over, this thing can rocket. And I think we might have caught something here with a pretty good entry there on that 7.4% move. +1 points to you, Yassine, for quoting Rounders right there. Let's go.
So with Warby Parker, looks like earlier this morning we had one of those wicks, those upper shadows out of the open here, and that pulled the stock down. So now we're trying to get back above that. Let's see this area here. It looks to be about the 21 and change area. So might find some resistance at about 21. And if we can get through that, and let's see if it can take out those highs. So it's like between 21 and 21.15. That's going to have the side of rejection there for a WRB. If it can get through that, this will trade better, and we might even see it go up to some of those highs we were experiencing yesterday.
Here's your daily chart for Warby. Looks like it ran right to that 100 and just kind of stopped there. So I think you're onto something here if it can clear the spot out.
And I like our Alpha's comment. Warby Glasses with Google has a room to grind slowly after a clear out. I think that could be the case too. We just need to see that clear out first.
I mentioned this on the happy hour yesterday. I said it facetiously. I'm going to repeat it here today just in case I need to answer the call at some point. I am going to be disappointed because I'm looking for something very specific out of some of these smart glasses. It's golf related. If it's Warby Parker that gives that to me first, and I have to wear these, I will begrudgingly, but I will. I would much rather have it be something like Ray-Ban or Oakley or something like that. But beggars can't be choosers. Warby Parker entering that. This is actually a pretty nice looking daily chart here at this point, to be quite honest.
GPU's new high now, 833, looking for that 850 high. Looking for 850.
Love it there on GPUs. Brandy, how you doing out there? Brandy, QBTS coming all the way back into that 16 handle. The area that I really think we need to watch is going to be 16 flat. Right. I've got this marked off here, 1622 something or other. This area, this $16 area, we crack this. I think this really starts to accelerate. We're getting another nuts call here from Lion Atlas on NUKK. Could go to 30. It's actually it's actually at 23 here. So that's not terribly far away. But
now. Did we cover? I know I wasn't there if you did, but did you cover at all the movement in the nuclear names? Because this was off of what Kathy Wood comment.
I did not. You're talking about like Oklo, SMR, NEE.
Yeah, is there a reason why these are up, or is it because I thought I saw something about
Well, Oklo's down, so this was up. Oklo's down now. Let's figure out what we're talking about here. SMR is still up. See, did we get some news on all this? Kathy Woods, ARK Invest, says nuclear energy could overtake solar as the cheapest power source.
Yeah.
Here's a list of nuclear energy linked ETFs to consider.
Yeah, so I was just kind of wondering if we're getting this movement off of that comment or if it's something else.
I gotta think it's this.
Okay.
Okay. You guys are mentioning Tesla here. I tried to get in there, but 13 was going off earlier.
Fault,
no, it's not a fault. You were doing good. Tesla here did break out of its pre-market formation. I think that's why we saw some acceleration to the upside there. Looks like it's still flirting with that actual opening candle from the 4 a.m. open. Anyway, Tesla here, we still have 350 as a spot here. This is one of the levels that we've been talking about. I know we've sold off a couple of points from that level. 350 still a spot here on Tesla. It really needs to get over. Target, by the way, which we were taking multiple looks at here today. Target testing that trend line that we just drew. I had an interesting comment that I wanted to repeat here on CNBC. Joe Kernan and Andrew Ross Sorkin were talking about Target and how this has really kind of fallen from grace. These upcoming quarters are really going to tell the legacy of the CEO, who I think is going to continue to experience more hot water. One of the things that Andrew Ross Sorkin said is that this might be one of those situations where it's hard to fall off of a floor. I know we've always said that things can go lower, but it does kind of seem like maybe Target is finally at that floor. Looks like other folks are looking for that too. I know, Lion, you were talking about maybe playing this for a move back higher.
GPUs popped up to 856 and backed off. So we did get our 850 print, a little bit more. It's selling a little bit, but it's not breaking beneath VWAP. So that the next target that I was mentioning, that's still in play as long as we hold above VWAP.
Joseph asking, are Wood's words worth? You want to talk about alliteration, tongue twister? Try saying that 3 times fast. Are Wood's words worth treating as Holy Scripture? No, definitely not. In fact, just as on a more general theme here, I would say that you should treat anyone's words as Holy Scripture. Maybe the Pope. Remember, the Pope thinks you should buy Portillo's. LOL. But no, you shouldn't take that. You shouldn't get married to any of these things. And Kathy Wood has had mixed performance, and I'll just leave it at that.
Yes, she has.
He later said that house may have had a basement. David, thank you. I love these comments. I'm going to reuse them. 13, I'm sorry for cutting you off there.
Yeah, I mean, like, she's had some really great calls. I mean, I've traded a number of them. A couple being Archer Aviation. That was one of hers.
Yep.
She was also big on DraftKings and Coin.
Yep.
She's
still big on Coin, if I'm not mistaken. So real quick, let's hammer this out.
She's not gospel.
Yeah, she's not. No one's gospel. Warren Buffett isn't even gospel, in my opinion. I don't think anyone is. Joe's here saying, I hear you, Ryan, but Wood is quoted quite often. Guilty, Joe. I have quoted Kathy Wood. I have read comments from Kathy Wood and talked about her updated positions and ARK Invest. Here's the thing that I want to remind folks. You know, we talk about Kramer here quite a bit. If you're consistent, that's really all that matters. If you're consistently bad, that can be a good thing. That can tell you there's value to gain from that. So if you think Kathy's just always makes bad calls and she's saying, hey, long this, long that, you know what to do out there, chat. I'm just saying.
Perfect, Samil. Perfect. Sorry. GPUs is halted the upside, hit 903. Samil's out. Sorry.
Okay. Registering for you folks for doing that. So I just said all that to say, you know, just because someone doesn't or makes a bunch of bad calls, I don't think we're necessarily going to stop talking about them. But you folks are asking the right questions already. No, you shouldn't treat any of this as gospel. There should always be some wiggle room there.
But you know, when I was looking at the different things she was talking about, there were things that she was talking about that she liked that I didn't get into, and there were things that she was talking about that I liked that I did get into. And I didn't do any of these without doing my own research first. I was, you know, kind of wondering, is Archer should I do Archer or should I do Joby? I settled on Archer. I'm very happy with that decision. Not that Joby isn't good, but I think that I was going to be able to play Archer better, and it worked out better. I knew more about Archer. I was able to find more. I liked their story better. And again, Joby is great too. You could have easily have owned both of those. But whenever somebody like Kathy Wood starts talking about something that they're going to be buying and they do it, I'll take a look at it. You should do the same. Do your own research before you buy from some of these talking heads.
Yeah, totally agree there. Real quick, Will, good stuff. I think you were trading CoreWeave here earlier today. CoreWeave looks like it's going for that 100 test. Interestingly enough, I am starting to see some put flow across the wire here for CoreWeave. Part of me wonders if this backs off from that round $100 level. Matthew here, another good comment here. You have to look at her track record. It speaks from itself. It's far from perfect. Jared also bringing up another really good point. Tesla really printed for her. That's one of the things that put her on the map. You're exactly right, Jared. Exactly right. Getting a little pullback here in the SPY after that ran to the intraday highs right out of the open. Chris, you're buying this here? Okay. Don't know if I'm a buyer of that yet. I think that this pullback here, I think that this is going to kind of slow down the TQQQ and SQQQ trades that we've been on.
Yeah, I mean, SQQQ is nowhere near far enough away. And that's kind of the thing I've been watching with some of these TQQ and SQQ trades. They're not getting to those levels that we were looking for where they get so extended. It's been very, very slow moving. Volume has been great. So you kind of just have to rely on some technical levels and where you can determine when to buy and when to sell, because the extensions haven't really worked out the past week or two.
Thinking about it, you had asked earlier, Ryan can't find 13Fs for Harbor Asset Management. I sent that to Tim. He responded with one word, Harbor, with the correct spelling. It looks like this is all that. Oh, come on, DevTools. What the hell? Looks like this is all that happened. Harbor is H-A. Where is my thing? And 13 just dropped again. Oh, we are having all kinds of tech issues here today. Day trader, Waymo hits 10 million autonomous trips. They just had the CEO on CNBC. I can't hear what they're saying, but that's going on right now. So thinking about it, yeah, Harbor, H-A-R-B-E-R. That should, yes, I already mentioned it. Oh, sorry. I can't keep track of everything. I can't keep track of everything.
Here we go with EDBL. It looks like it's going to break this trend line that we've been establishing all morning. It's coming up to it right now. Just need to get a little bit higher. I'd say maybe 615 should be a good spot for it. Let's see what we get. 615, 620. You see what I'm talking about there with that trend line? We started at the 685 high, draw through the candle that had the big knife. And you'll see that we're coming right up to that trend line. We need to break out of it.
I'm sorry, man. You're gonna have to do that again for me. What am I drawing here?
It's the trend line, 685. That high there from the 745 this morning.
Yep.
Through the knife high.
Right here.
Yep, just like that. We're
coming
up to it and trying to break through it right now. Just need a little bit more volume.
Got it.
A little bit more volume. Get us through this consolidation from about 6 to I think I called it 650, but 615. And 620 is about where breaking through the trend line would take place.
Aura Alpha, really good stuff there on CoreWeave and UNH. Good job. And that's another thing. If you're having a tough week, remember it's one trade can really turn it around. It's another reason why it's really important that you don't go all in and blow yourself out on anything, because one trade can turn it around. Target, we are officially through the intraday trend line. Target cleared for higher. Yeah, thinking about it, I also initiated a little bit of a position on this one. MAGN was one from his list here that I did buy a little bit too. I'm going to have a long-term view on that. I also really do like Win. I don't have a position on it right now, but I do really like that. And we've talked about Calm quite a bit earlier. Tim had a lot of stuff here today. I actually felt like I rushed him, and I'm sorry about that. It's tough. We have a limited time. We have limited time in the morning, and there's only so much we can get across there. So CoreWeave now 101. Boy, we just went right through 100, didn't we? Look at that. Look at that break through 100. Let me ask you. Let me take a. Okay, look at this daily chart on CoreWeave. Like, I look at this and I'm thinking about, okay, we should probably short this thing. Let's see what the option chain looks like here.
Or is this the next NVIDIA? And it just continues to rip.
It's a good point. I can't answer that with any confidence. Man, option premiums are jacked in this name. Now, the 70 put for June is a $3 ask. CoreWeave, man. That might be the one to play, though. Honestly, that's $70 put. Anyway,
EDBL putting up a series of upper shadows here. This could turn south. Oh, just kind of like that.
EDBL. Let me flip to that. If anyone takes a short position on CoreWeave, let me know. I'm interested in that. I don't have anything yet here. I'm going to watch this trade, but I am interested if you take one. Just turned my week green. Let's go, Mike. Way to go. Nice clawback there. It's Wednesday, and that's a good schlump day for you. Target continuing to move off the lows. S&P 500 here looking like it's going to try and trade up, although it does feel a tad heavy.
Yeah, so we were getting asked about Aurora Innovation.
That's ticker AUR, isn't it?
Yeah, if anybody was buying. I do like the idea of this company, and they've got some of those driving around here in Texas already. I don't think I've seen one yet, but I know that they do have them operating. To me, it looks like this is getting ready to go lower, so I don't think I'd be a buyer quite yet. Maybe under 5. Maybe under 5. Not sure yet. I'd have to take a deeper look into the company, even though I already know something about it. The problem is they just don't make any money. They're losing hundreds of millions.
So. Real quick here, CoreWeave looks like it's going to take 102. There's just no chill at all there in CoreWeave. Google up 5. Yeah, Jay, it's because I'm actually out of that. That's why I'm not mentioning it. Google up 5. I was long on this one. This is a nice move here today. Really wish I still had some of this.
GPUs hit a high of 945. Got a bit of a reversal candle here on the 5 minutes. So if this started to come back in towards a VWAP, that would not be surprising at all.
You got some pretty significant resistance up here. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, I already know some folks took profit in there and they did really well. So, I don't know if there's any reason to really play this further unless you feel like you want to. You guys already did great. So it's all up to you, folks. Up to you what you want to do.
Jay, looks like there is a lot of aggressive call buying in both Google and Google.
Oh, that's
like tons.
That's interesting, Ara. That it's Mark Chaikin that's pumping Ara Alpha. That's something definitely worth paying attention to. Then, what is he saying about it? Is he just covering its growth or its financial position or its? Because I look at their financials and I need some convincing here.
Stock Trader for Life asking about CoreWeave here. I've been avoiding buying CoreWeave. I think it'll go back to the $60 level. Any comments? So I can't tell you where this is going to go. The only context that I had with this was around the IPO. I knew someone that sat in on some of those meetings, and the information that I got was that they were not happy about how that IPO went down. Now, that seems like ages ago because this stock is more than a double from that IPO. So clearly they lost that here. I do think this is overextended. Like, I'm not going to sit here and tell anyone, yeah, look at this chart here. This is probably a buy up here. That just seems dumb. Speaking of stuff that's dumb, I would absolutely wait for a pullback here. But what I would say about that is if it does not pull back for you, are you going to be okay? Or are you going to be like, damn, I missed my opportunity? I just, in good faith, my whole goal is to try and help other people not make mistakes. Looking at a chart like this, I cannot possibly advise buying it. Wait it out. This thing looks totally overcooked.
Well, so did that $1.5 billion senior notes offering ever go through yet, or is it just still announced? Because if that gets executed, that could pull this down.
Yeah, I don't. That's a good question. I don't know. The to offer due in 2030. I don't know.
Just something I'm thinking about.
I mean, I would wait this out. I think you'll get an opportunity to buy this at 60. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I think you will. I certainly wouldn't chase this move higher. That's for sure.
Looks like GPUs is not finished yet, trying to push into that 9 area higher, and it just keeps getting pushed down. after it makes that attempt. So we can't start closing over 9. I think this is going to absolutely come into its VWAP. Don't know how much further down it could go if it does trade beneath that, but great stuff.
Yeah, and Kathy here, given the other side, Kathy, I absolutely love this. I absolutely love this because sometimes I feel like I've got tunnel vision, locked in on my own vision here. Kathy saying NVIDIA is a big investor in CoreWeave or Alpha, reminding us 7% stake NVIDIA took in CoreWeave. Also, a rumored partnership between CoreWeave and Google. Part of me wonders then if that rumor's been floating out there, if that's what's going on with this.
Edible trying to recapture its VWAP. If it does, it might have another shot at breaking that trend line.
Hi, HYLN. Where is my short squeeze?
Well,
didn't materialize unless that was what was going on here in the pre-market here. The short squeeze that you're asking about, remember, we had 11.7% of the float shorted with 23 days to cover, makes it a candidate for a short squeeze. Looks like everything kind of came back in here.
Yeah, so this, let's see, let's look at the chart and see what we're getting here, because it might just be one of those things where it comes right back into where it launched from, and then it starts to trade a little bit better. Yeah, this thing looks like it's trying to turn around, but seems like it's going to need a little more time. Maybe if once it recaptures 140, that it might start to trade better. But this thing, yeah, this thing already looks like that move may have happened. Possibly this comes back later on in the day. We've seen plenty of these get some more action later on in the day, so that could happen. But need to see some basing here first, which it might be doing at the moment.
There you go. We ride continuing to rip here. What was the short interest on this, by the way? Nothing. And this still continues to trade to the highs. We ride just an absolutely huge move here today. Agree, Lion. CoreWeave does need to come down, or it sure looks like that.
Yeah, so watch that offering this pull right down.
Lion also saying that partnership stuff baked in there. Anon saying that Wolf Speed short is going well. Did that actually move more to the lows after that initial drop here in the pro? Sure did. Another leg down here into the pennies. Stock trader for life. Yes, I am currently short QBTS. I opened this up yesterday, so this morning had me rethinking it. I'm short with defined risk, though. I'm in the puts for this week, the 14.5 puts for this week. So define my risk ahead of the trade. Let's keep going. I still think this thing could print 14s. I think Brandy is on this one as well with the 16 puts.
Yeah, this was one that we were, also on yesterday too, because it finally started to get that break over 12. 12 was a big resistance area. Then Friday we finally got a close over it. This week, nothing but blast off. But it's very extended right now, over 85 RSI. It was even higher yesterday. Looks like this is about where it needs to start coming back in. Now, how far down it goes? Y'all are looking for what? 14?
I have 14.5s. Brandy, I believe, has 16s.
Okay, I could see this, filling that gap to the downside, and down about where 1345, 1330 is, something like that.
And W getting mentions here. How was that implied option low? Looks like that marked a low here for today. I think it actually went to like 7.6% at the actual low here. Nice move though, 3.5 points. Let's see if we get some more. Pan W.
I'd still like to see 360 in Tesla. Couldn't quite reach that spot yesterday. Got as high as we got 1 penny shy.
Couldn't do 350 today either. Tried, couldn't.
No, but it is. I also mentioned yesterday that it is. I think this might have been the one where the formation here is kind of a megaphone pattern. It's got a broadening wedge at the top of this rally. So we could end up seeing lower prints than Monday's, and it still turn around and print higher prints than yesterday's, but at the same time continue to consolidate. So until we get it, because I'm still on this break down of 325 or break out of 360. Until then, I think we're just consolidating. It's got to be one of those two directions, in my opinion. GPU's new high.
Real quick here,
Look at that!
I'm seeing some breaking news
998.
come across the wire here. NVO, ticker NVO, Novo Nordisk Foundation enters into strategic framework agreement with the World Health Organization to advance global health. Stock is ticking up here, perhaps on the back of that news. If you needed a reason to dislike this more, there you go.
So yeah, GPU's new high. It went to 998. I think that would be good for me. It didn't hit 10 like we were looking for, but being 2 cents off, I think I'd be okay with that. For me, this would be. I was out of this a while back. I didn't stick around for this rally, but if this is me, I think 998 would be about where I'd call it. If it continues to go up, great. But that's up to y'all if you want to trade more after this. I think 10 is my spot.
I ain't touching NVO. Yeah, neither am I. Neither am I.
You're buying puts on SMCI. It's been stuck at the 40s level. That's interesting. We've got
we've got a pretty sweet parallel channel that had done wonders for us on SMCI. Let's see where we're back at with that. Might actually have to adjust this drawing again too.
I'm in the sideways channel that was established from late August to late October. So that's the sideways channel we're in right now. All right. So yeah, GPUs. I mean, I don't know if GPU's got anything left in it, but if it continues to run,
so as far as the puts here, like we ran right to that 500 and backed off of that. I could easily see this at minimum testing that 39, maybe even 36 if you're ready. I don't hate that at all.
We were getting asked earlier by FinXL. It says Kramer says he likes Tesla stocks. What do you guys think about this? So there's going to be things that we like that are good that Kramer will happen upon, and he'll say he likes it too, because you can either like it or dislike it. That 50-50 is going to be one way or the other. So sometimes when he says that he likes something that nobody else likes, there's probably a reason for that. But him liking Tesla, I don't know if I would put a lot of weight on that, because Tesla's just one of those battleground stocks. It's going to be liked and hated by a lot of people. So I think when it comes to Kramer, he's just another one of those that's either going to like it or hate it. And I don't think
Google continuing to trade higher here. This up 3.5%. Or this was from earlier. Google and Volvo Cars deepen partnership to develop Android software for vehicles. Sweet.
Wow. Google.
Yeah, this is. Well, I'll tell you what. I wish that the calls that I bought here were a week later, because good Lord, this would have been a massive home run. This was already a really good trade. But this would have been a massive home run. This would have been I remember we were along the 160 calls on Google here. 10 points higher now. Yeah, and Aura saying bravo. Bravo to those who bought it yesterday. What a day here today. Stock trader for life. You got it, man. You found the right spot here.
ASST been going sideways. Not sure I'd like that for a trade anymore. LAES, the more this goes down, the more it looks like it might have a bounce play coming, but I don't think that's happened quite yet.
Big B's scalping Pan W. I think you got some more room on that Pan W. Good stuff. Good stuff. That's probably the best call of the day here. Pan W bounce right at the 7.4% pullback level. Great job, everyone that grabbed that.
And then Google, it's trying to recapture this trend line. If you drew a trend line from the lows going back to October of 2023 and March of 2024 and September of 2024, and you just keep drawing that trend line. That trend line we're trying to recapture now, and that's right beneath the 200-day SMA. So this kind of sets it up as a potential site of rejection, but eventually we're going to see some kind of breakout move over it. I just don't know when that's going to happen, but this is a trend line worth watching. Yeah.
Got you.
Yep. Pretty much.
Finn Excel, looks like you're new to the group here. Archer, ticker ACHR, is my top priority right now. Any thoughts on this one, guys? Yeah, actually, we had a discussion about Archer earlier. Do think we're in the infancy of the eVTOL space here. Archer is probably going to be your leader there. You help me out here. I know Kathy's been on Archer. We like this more than Joby, which is its main competitor here. Did you have levels for this that you were giving out earlier? I can't remember. Yeah.
Me? Oh, well, for support, I do like $10. That's just above the 20-day SMA. That looks like a good spot where the price might come down to and find some support. Now, keep in mind, even with the good news that this has and all the other things that it's got going on, this company still doesn't have any revenue yet because they're still in the upstart phase. So I feel like when we start seeing these down moves, to just let those down moves just continue to go down and let them find the bottom before we start jumping into this, because that was what we were getting earlier this year or last month. We did have a breakout that ran into up into the 8 handle, kind of went sideways for a while, started getting more attention. We got a breakout over 9, which is a level we were watching for and we had talked about frequently on this show. And after we got that move over 9, and it just took off after that. So I guess I would say 9 and 10 look like the best levels for a pullback. But I don't think I'd be buying this until I got confirmation of a bottom.
Okay. Good stuff there on Archer. By the way, re-ride here, no chill. Grats to everyone. There was no way I was going to trade re-ride here today, which is funny because I had a bunch of other stuff on the robo-taxi war that's currently going on. Anyone that's in re-ride here, make sure you're getting yourself paid. What a move here. Thinking about it, also mentioning EVTL for a possible eVTOL play if you're looking for another one. Also, our poll results are in. So 13 and his idea of maybe building an AMD. Can you imagine an AMC machine? An AMD machine. NVIDIA versus AMD computer build. Who you got? Heads up. 53% of you said NVIDIA. 46% of you said AMD. And the interesting part about this is that for 95% of the time the poll was open, AMD was in the lead. It wasn't until the very end that the NVIDIA bulls took it back. Good stuff there. Thanks for voting in our poll, folks.
Yeah, I've been mentioning the competitors for Archer, Ehang and Joby. Those are two of the bigger ones. Joby's going to be, I think you're going to see that and Archer around the world more than you're going to see Ehang, because Ehang's a Chinese company, and frankly, their drone or their aircraft.
It's victory lap time. Sean Boyle, respect to 13 and Ryan, political futures gamer. 2 weeks ago, started self-trading without the PDT cap, cashed out daily 16%, nothing held overnight. This is the best pre-market education tool out there. Your program is way undervalued. This is awesome to read, Sean. I'm extremely thrilled that we have provided some type of help in your corner of the world. Would you be interested in writing a testimonial? Really, really awesome comment. Look forward to doing more of this throughout the course of the year here today. So great stuff.
Or at the very least, hit like, subscribe, and tell your friends about this place.
Yep. We don't need to break records with viewers and subscriber numbers. What we do need is to bring in as many people that share our vision on creating a helpful community as possible. I'm not interested in the trolls. They'll come here. We'll joke with them. They'll probably show them the door. But always looking for the good people out there that are looking to help others. I want to surround myself with people like that for the rest of my life. This show is no different than that. Sorry, I just saw.
Yeah, Pony getting a mention from Will. That just popped up here all the way to the 200 EMA on the 5-minute. That thing was hammered this morning. Also, Webcoin mentioning that Kids is moving up. That's Kids with a Z.
That was a wild one too. Wow, Toll Brothers gave back
Mhm.
all of its earnings. We should be getting a report from Felicia, our real estate expert, in happy hour today. I'll fold that into any type of analysis that we do on Toll tomorrow. This is the more luxury buyer. They had a pretty good earnings report, which I guess I'm unsurprised because they're not as affected by interest rates. Nonetheless, though, giving it back here today. And actually, Rocket on that same
Yeah.
theme there, Rocket getting pounded here today. Down almost 4%, right down to
Good.
that 1260 low.
Good. Give me some more buying opportunities. Toll Brothers, you know what's interesting is that it found support from its launch pad after when it announced its earnings. So it was going sideways at about 104 in the after hours. They had earnings, and it went from 104 all the way up to, what is this, like 111, 112. As we had this today come in, the pre-market was already leaking. Market opened, went all the way down to 104, technically 103.88, and reversed. So it seems like it gave it all back, but now it's trying to go on the recovery again. It looks like it's trying to go positive now, and you can even draw a trend line to see if we get a break of that. Toll Brothers looks like it's trying to turn around. Just doesn't have the volume to push through some of these levels quite yet.
All right, so we're talking about this intraday trend line here, right? Like this?
Yeah. So it gave back the entire earnings move, and now I think it's just going to trade.
Jay
You know
saying, you know why Toll gave it all back? No, what's going on? I actually didn't hear the conference call too, so that's kind of a trick question if the answer is in there. Let's see if it was mentioned here.
Tariffs remain a headwind? No, that's
this is just that was just the generic one here. No, I don't see anything here out of the news either. Jay, what happened here? What happened here? I'm guessing that you know based on your comment. Let's take a look at KIDZ. Yeah, this actually is a pretty good
that NVS is saying GPUs is reversing back, and that's fine. We were talking about this thing getting up to 10. It hit 998. This also could still not be done, but for the time being, it looks like it wants to go lower. Maybe it trades better later on. But I'm looking at the MACD. I'm looking at the price action. I'm looking at where it's at in relation to the VWAP. Looks like it's going to go lower if it can't rebound off the VWAP here. Weak or no guidance? I don't think that was the case because I thought they were. Because we were looking at the earnings report. I don't think.
No, Jay figured it out. Here's the reason.
It's
not Mr. Bean. Jim Cramer tweeted literally this morning or yesterday, excuse me. Toll Brothers is an exceptional company. What an amazing quarter. And so because Cramer tweeted that last night, lo and behold, today, lower we go. LOL, Jay. LOL. I agree, though. I agree with Lion here. This is a great company. And the other thing here, Lion, you're mentioning about the tariffs. I know the China tariff thing, that's really dominated the news cycle. We've also had this discussion in happy hour. The deal with Canada may actually have more impact on some of these home builders just because of the lumber trade that goes on. So I don't know what's going to happen here. I would imagine that cooler heads are going to prevail sooner rather than later, but you actually might get a trade off some of these builders if you do get that deal done.
So what's okay, well, you know what? Looking like ever since April 7th, how about that? The timber and forestry ETFs have been on the rise, and they're still rising.
The Cramer crush, the inverse Cramer. I mean, you name it whatever you want. It's phenomenal that we're able to continue to track this.
Do you think that people are watching CNBC with positions in Toll Brothers, and he starts talking about? Like,
so I've thought about that on a larger scale. I've thought about this before. Do you think that people with positions are trading based on what they see on CNBC? Because I've been using a newswire and then also working for a company that makes that newswire since I've been using the newswire since 2014. I have a hard time believing that, but every day every day I it seems that things react to that stuff. So yes, I do think there are people doing that. I can't understand it because I feel like there's ways to get all of this information quicker and sometimes less filtered is the right word. But yeah, I think there are. I really do. I mean, Samel saying I watch CNBC a lot. Full disclosure, guys, I've got CNBC here. I've got CNBC on right now. I have a monitor. You probably can't. Yeah, I have a monitor above my trading setup here that has CNBC 24/7. So I'm guilty. I watch it too, but I don't know that I necessarily make decisions off of it. Wisdom says, I don't have a TV and my life is so amazing. You know who else says the same thing very famously? Tucker Carlson. Doesn't have TVs in his house. And as a result, feels a lot better. At least he claims that he does.
Anyone know NBIS? We may have heard about that one once or twice.
I've never heard of NBIS. What is it, Sydney? Sorry, I had to. Yes, this is one that we have been following here. Actually, Chris, shout out, Chris Forsman has been pretty actively trading this one recently. I effed up on this one. I piked this one. I had this bought at $17.50 right after the IPO, and I was like, "This looks really good." Ended up selling it at like 25. Was like, "Yes," and we went to 40.
Yeah, this broke a trend. Now this trend, it's going to be weird because this is the company that basically delisted itself from the exchange once the Russia-Ukraine war started. So you have this gap in price action from about the beginning of 2022 to October of 2024. This happened suddenly. So starting from November of 2021 and drawing through the high of February of this year, you see that we had just broken through this trend line with an impulse move. So I think once we approach like 44, maybe 45, could even be 50, we'll start to see some pullback here and we'll back test this trend line. But I think that might be coming sooner than later because this is pretty extended, just under 80 RSI.
That $50 level looks to be the good one. I got to be honest with you. I'm shocked at this and absolutely love this. Britt. No TV. Catherine, no TV. I would have guessed that we probably had very few people that said this, but you know what? Catherine and Britt, I can't recall a single day that you've come on here and seemed anything other than happy. So I absolutely love that you said that. That's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Lion Atlas says no TV. Not sure I believe that one. NVS says F this. I've got 6 of them.
Yeah, I've got a lot of TVs, but it's funny because we don't really watch like cable TV or anything like that. We stream everything. Yeah, exactly. No cable. We just stream everything. So it's only the shows we want to watch when we want to watch.
I'm with Peen. I'm with Peen. Honestly, my televisions I use for background noise if I'm doing tasks around the house or sports ball. Other than that, I mean, I watched the season finale of Oak Island last night. That's about it, man. It's basically sports for me. Even CNBC. I mean, I watch, I guess, a little bit on the TV. I've got it on a monitor here. That might just be semantics, but generally speaking, I try to stay away from that too.
ASST is starting to curl back up here. Needs better volume, but it's starting to put in some moves. Don't know if the market's really turning around here or not. Let me take a look and see if it is. Getting some rejection here.
On which one?
Trend line I have. I'm just looking at. I'm kind of talking about looking at the SPY, but we were also mentioning ASST might be trying to turn around and going back up. Currently dealing with the 925 area where it was provided some support before it lost it around 955 this morning. But yeah, I got a lot of TVs in my house. We like movies, we like shows, but we don't leave them on. Just watch whatever's on cable.
Yeah,
we don't really do that.
Yeah, I've thought about cutting the cord, but man, cable it gives me all of the channels. Some random day I'll need some random channel, and my cable package has it, and my streaming package wouldn't, and it's just I'm with you on that. I don't like being sucked in by the TV. I really don't. But man, oh man, at the end of the day, sometimes that's just the way to go.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I watch more YouTube
TV.
than I watch television, no question about it. Between car detailing videos and geopolitics and everything in between, my God, I watch a lot of YouTube.
The content's just better.
Yeah, it actually is. Better. It actually is, and it's also more usable. I mean, my dishwasher broke. I'm not a dishwasher pro. My dishwasher broke. I spent 30 minutes watching YouTube videos, and the next day I had my dishwasher fixed. I mean, TV would have just told me which overpriced model to replace it with. Don't fix it, throw it away, buy a brand new model, and spend more money. That's what TV would have told me to do. Anyway.
KDLY is getting some support from its VWAP, and it's trying to go back up to these pre-market and session highs, so, just over 21. If this pops up again, we're going to need to see this move through these highs we did in the pre-market and the regular session, or else we're just going to end up creating a triple top, and this thing will go south.
Okay, so you're basically looking for this as the resistance point.
Yeah. Daniel is saying that that mover from this morning.
That was the penny BDSX stock, right? That BDSX.
Yeah, he's saying that's ripping right now.
Nice little curl.
Going, yep, right now up to a resistance area at 51. They see another resistance area at about 52.5, and then you have consolidation, all from the after hours that led into the pre-market. So that's going to be about the area where you might find a lot of price rejection if it can get up to 53 cents. 57 seems like the big
Tommy's suggesting read Shakespeare. Tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow creeps in this petty pace from day to day to the last syllable of recorded time. I actually don't read a lot of Shakespeare. I was forced to do that in high school, so maybe I've developed an aversion to it, but I can still quote Macbeth with the best of them. Sean's asking, Ryan, do you watch any golf YouTuber content from channels like Grant Horvat or Bob Does Sports? I watch both of those. I also, of course, watch Paige. And I also watch the Barstool Sports guys. So yes, I love the golf content, and I'll look for smaller. I credit a lot of the golf instructional YouTube videos for really kind of helping me with my game. So yes, I absolutely do that.
Sergeant Sexy is saying that Bitcoin all-time highs. I think that's a question that they're asking. Let me just. Sergeant Sexy is asking if Bitcoin.
So here, let's actually. You know what? I haven't gone to this crypto chart in some time. Let's actually take a look at where Bitcoin is here.
It has. It looks like.
It has not.
No, I'm sorry, it has not. We're almost there. 109 and 109,455 is the high that I have.
We are so close. We actually look like we might be forming a triple top up here. The exact value that I have here, 13, 109,590.
Yeah, I got 109,455. Let's just call it 109.5 and just make it easy for all of us. Let's say that's about where the resistance is for the highs. We blow through that and see 110.
Look at how vertical this chart is going. I mean, oh man.
You want to talk about things being extended? That could be extended.
Salty that I missed my Bitcoin fill there. Don't really care about the Solana and Ripple as much as I care about the Bitcoin. Damn. I wish I got filled on that move back down. There might still be more, though. My order's still out there, by the way. Have not pulled that.
Edible trying to recapture VWAP and take out that trend line that we drew earlier. It's coming back up. Just need to start seeing a close above this VWAP, and that should lead to the break of the trend line. If we can't do that, then we're going down.
Sean, I appreciate that recommendation. I have screenshotted that. I will check that out. That sounds like something I could definitely enjoy watching and would break up the monotony of the day. I'll take any recommendations you folks have.
BDSX now pulling after hitting that 51 cent level that we were just looking at. So that's not looking great. This is coming down to about a support area, one of them. If it can't get it from 46 cents, it looks like the next support area might be around 44. Let's be careful with this one. If it starts to turn around, I'm still eyeing those levels I mentioned earlier, like 53 cents, but 57 being the big resistance area. So even if it does turn around and go back up,
thoughts, Kathy? I love this. Thoughts on eToro? This was a recent IPO here. This was actually a broker. It does look like it kind of shook out some of these weak hands. I would be watching this for a move above 70. I think you might. One of the two things that I would watch here: what happens when the stock gets to $70, and what happens with some of this volume? Can we get any more of this volume to expand? Can we get more buying volume? Can we get a nice outsized candle here? Now, I don't know what it's going to take to do that. Maybe it would take coverage or something like that, and I don't know if we get that. But I would watch 70 as your key level here, and I would also look at the volume here and see if this expands. If it does, it could go. Absolutely. We actually haven't looked at that much since the IPO day, but I have a feeling that one's going to be coming back.
Yeah. So.
Sergeant Sexy's asking me about Ondas here and the Golden Dome. So I had actually talked a little bit about this. Let me get my bigger chart up here for you. I'd actually talked a little bit about this. The whole Golden Dome thing. They actually had a segment on CNBC here earlier today. And one of the points that was being made is, Israel's about the size of New Jersey. The United States, obviously, is much, much larger. So the entire project of doing this is going to be very difficult and is going to require multiple companies. Now, my thought on this is that I would be entirely unsurprised that whatever dome project the United States eventually does is not just going to be reliant upon missiles. I suspect that you're going to have other forms of defense tied into that, and drones absolutely make sense to me. Completely unmanned vehicles, things you don't mind sacrificing. What was the company yesterday you were talking about that made drones from commercial parts where they weren't expensive? Anduril. That's right. And I'm still waiting. Thank you. And I'm still waiting for that IPO. I'm really excited about that. So yes, I think there's going to be a lot. I can't guarantee you that this stock is going to be a huge part of it. I suspect that it will. But on a larger point that you're asking about here, Sergeant Sexy, I think that there are going to be a ton of companies that actually play into this that you're going to be able to trade. In fact, I've got one for you here today. We couldn't get to this. We couldn't get to this news story here today, but this is going to be on L3 Harris Technologies. That's ticker LHX. So here, let me throw this into you. Let me throw this article out here. Now, Jay's mentioning that it gave all of its gains back here today. So shame on me for not bringing this up here. Here's a look at the intraday chart on LHX. And Jay's exactly right. This thing popped on that news headline, came all the way back in here. I think we're early on this. I think there's going to be more of this. So be patient with this, but keep your ears open for other companies that might have some type of impact on the larger project. Yes, I do think drones at the end of the day will be a part of that.
How's everybody doing today with their trades? It's almost 10 or 11 o'clock. We already got.
Oh my God! It's almost time to go.
Yeah, we already got past. It looks like KDLY is trying to go as well again, but it looks like we got past that 10:30 segment where the volume starts to leave. So I personally thought we had some really great trading today. I thought this was going to kind of be a slow day with how we opened, but man, was I wrong about that, and I'm happy I was. Really good trades in KDLY, GPUS, some others that you folks were trading. I think you were also getting LAES, Edible. Just a lot of great trades today, folks. I'm glad y'all made some money.
Interesting. Diana Olick is wearing the exact same shade of green that Tim Melvin was wearing. I don't know if we can take anything from that, but there you go. Kevin, take care of yourself. Thanks again for all of your support and participation. Britt is asking why July.
Oh, because Wisdom was mentioning LHX for me will be in view in July. Okay. So he's looking. She's asking about why L3 Harris Technologies in July. I mean, I don't know if I would want to get it right now. This thing has already begun selling off from being too extended. But that 200-day SMA looks pretty interesting. That's been a site of rejection all year. And now we've broken through it. So I want to see that act as support. What do you think?
Sorry, I'm making sure that I have the right transition here on the schedule. I believe we're going to story trading next here.
All right.
Sorry about that, 13. I didn't realize you were going to ask me a follow-up on that.
No problem.
Amanda's asking if Tim seems like a guy that coordinates outfits to you. Judging by how he said he picked his shirt out in the dark, I would have to say no. But I'm trying. I'm doing whatever I can to draw parallels there.
Looks like GPUs is making its way back over VWAP, but need to see better volume out of this if it's going to take out some of these other levels it was making earlier. I think the $10 level we marked off and it ran up to $9.98. That was fine. I have no interest in trying to take another stab at this, but don't let me stop y'all. If you see a trade set up here, go ahead and do your thing. Just be careful with this one. I don't think the volume's as great as it was before.
It was a nice morning move there.
Oh yeah,
on that one.
Kids just hit a new session high.
Bitcoin just hit a new high as well.
All-time high?
No, I've got 109,285 on the futures ticker there for Bitcoin. So it's just under that,
close.
But it's ripping.
Oh gosh, do you think we're going to get a reversal after it hits that high?
I wouldn't be shocked if it did.
Okay, be ready, folks. We're approaching the all-time high for Bitcoin.
Tommy is saying, when I'm nervous about a trade, I'm trading too large. Got to work on that. So position sizing is going to be one of the most important things for your risk management development over the course of your career. I go back and forth on this. It's a constant battle. I feel like I'm always working on that. I'm never quite there. Okay, it is almost time for story trading. Let's give a wrap up here, 13. What do you, any closing words for the group, I should say?
Hey, fantastic day, guys. I'm glad y'all made some money and you had some really good execution and made some smart moves. Let's go do this all over again tomorrow. We'll find some more movers. We'll trade them. We'll make some money. It'll be another great day. And I'll see you then. Take care, everybody. Have a good one.
Okay, deal. We'll do this again tomorrow. Sounds good. Folks, that is 13. 13, have a great rest of your day. I'll catch you on happy hour. Good stuff yet again. We're not done here because we got story trading coming and we've got futures fever after that. Let's say hi to the story trading folks. We'll bring on Ben and Rhett. And are we going to get the Godfather?
No Godfather today, just two of us. Hey, Ryan, if you have time, you can hang out and we'll chit chat.
I'll hang out for a couple of minutes. I do have some stuff that I got to do, but I'll hang out for a couple of minutes. I'm going to start by saying this, Ben. I don't know if you remember, but last week you had told me emphatically that I absolutely needed to watch the Tesla dancing Optimus robot.
Yeah, it almost got to 360, not quite, but yes.
I did.
Oh, you saw the video though. Yeah.
As soon as I got off, I watched that video and I was like, I see why Ben told me to do that. This is wild. Cannot believe the Optimus robot was shuffle dancing of all dancing. Can't believe that the T-step was actually pretty clean. Anyway, it was a very impressive video, but I will say that did not cause me to buy Tesla.
Okay.
I will say, I know you were talking about 360. We talked about 360 kind of being an important point here today on Tesla. I think you get that 350, 360 breakout, giddy up. I think you're in good shape here, Tesla, for the long side.
Love it. So position sizing, as you were saying at the end of the other show, is everything when it comes to risk management. Absolutely everything. Man, I once ran I did a little portfolio on crypto altcoins.
Mm-hmm.
And I had no idea what I was trading at all. I didn't understand the catalyst, the fundamentals, nothing. And I don't know how reliable the technicals were. This was like a few years ago. And I did everything based on position sizing, totally blindly. I'm like, all right, my starting position's like 5% in everything. And then if it goes to if my position size gets to 10%, that's too much. I got to sell it. If then the position size gets to 2.5%, that's too little. Let me bring it back to 5%. I was doing everything based on position sizing completely blindly. And it was just brilliant. It made a lot of money back then.
You can actually have like a 70% loss rate and still make money if you position and size correctly. That's how important it is.
Yeah. Well, look, Ryan, let me tell you something. I don't care about what's going on with QQQ SPY anymore at all. I'm done. I'm done looking at it. This is the scenario I want to be in. We're in a bull market above the 200-day moving average. And I'm not trading the indices anymore. I'm not trading the mega caps. This is a risk-on environment for not only small caps, but any stock, whether it's a mega cap, a mid cap, a small cap, where they can now re-rate more predictably based off catalysts. And that's everything I do is based on catalysts. It's based on anticipating a catalyst are reacting to a catalyst and getting those rapid re-ratings within honestly, most times within the same day. All right. But 1 to 2 days, because now the market is acting predictably to the catalyst. It's not like this whole macro concern. And it's like, oh yeah, you had this great news, but tariffs. You had this great news, but the QQQ. None of that matters anymore. And if you know a company well and you have 20 years, 30 years of experience, and you can read a press release and you can understand everything that goes into it, and you say, hey, this is the impact of the catalyst on sentiment. This is the impact of the catalyst on fundamentals. Look at the technicals, come up with the price target, and it's so accurate. That's what I love doing. That's what I do. All day today, I've been trading without looking at QQQ and SPY. In fact, I was emphatic.
Do you feel liberated?
I feel liberated.
Yeah, I bet.
This is where I want to be. This is the spot I want to be in. And look at this. My top of my watch list, no QQQ there, no SPY. And when people ask me about it, you better watch the market. Q might be a red day today. I'm like, I don't give a flying F. I don't care. I don't care if the QQ is down, because we're over the 200-day moving average, and stocks are no longer trading 1-to-1 with QQQ SPY. They will do their own thing. So this is just such a beautiful, beautiful period. And man, our predictions this morning, Ryan, you got to hang out for this part. You would not believe how accurate, and Rhett's going to attest to this in a second. I had 5 picks this morning. About 4 of them so far have hit the target. It's insane. All right. Goose was one of my top picks, maybe the number 1 pick of the day based on their earnings report. I gave everyone an 1170 target. All right. In pre-market, when we were at 1026, now I sold all out by 1137 because that's what I do. I never hold for the target. I sell on the way up. So 1170 re-rating target. We're up at 1150. I listened to the entire conference call. I understood what was the play here. Look at the technicals, look at the fundamentals. Easy re-rating. Beautiful. All right. Another one we gave you. We Ride. We've been in this looking for an 11 swing target. It hit 11. We alerted out to the community. Get the hell out when it was at $11. Look at this. Up 23%. They had earnings this morning. I listened to the entire conference call. I didn't love it. And I said, I'm not sure what it's going to do here, but if it breaks 950, we are off to the races, and we could see 11 today. And that's exactly what happened today. Insane. And a couple more other crazy calls. Webull, we're in this. We've been so accurate on Webull. We're using the 30-minute chart without extended hours, the 50-period moving average. This is what I used to predict the breakout from 14 to 18, which made our community a ton of money. People made 6 figures on this move using Webull warrants, okay? Why the 50-period moving average? Because look how accurate it's been from day one. Broke below it, got resisted all the way down, broke above it, resisted
that's amazing.
200, held the 50, broke below it all the way down. Yesterday, for the first time, it was a little touchy, broke above it, a little touchy yesterday, but back above it. Earnings are tomorrow after the close. I think now the target is, again, just like it was last time. You break the 50, you move to the 200. Target's $14. So this one, 7%. We piled into warrants yesterday when we broke this level. I gave the alert to the community. We're buying those warrants at $2.50. They're now $3.10. Actually, no, we're buying at $2.35. We're buying these Bullseye warrants. They're now $3.07. Oh my gosh, Ryan, should I keep going? I have 3 more crystal ball things for you.
So I want to know what the next one is, but I do have one follow-up question on Goose. I asked this earlier and I couldn't get an answer. Are those jackets still really popular, or was that a trend that is past, a fad? What's the deal with the Goose Island jacket?
The conference
Goose Island, Canada Goose.
As they call it on the conference call, the heat they're generating with the brand, they're very happy with that heat factor. So they're doing good. The numbers were great. They beat on revenue. They beat on EPS. All of the commentary was extremely positive on the conference call this morning. So I had high conviction that we get to that 1170. My only regret is my position size. Maybe could have been more aggressive. But in any case, made money. You can't complain, right?
Okay. So next one. Give me your best next prediction.
Okay. Next one. TSSI.
This is a show favorite. I'm listening.
It is? Okay. TSSI. Well, look, I totally nailed this on the earnings. You would not believe. I gave a blueprint out of what the stock would do before it did it. I said 1250 is your support, 1650 is your target. That was for the day. Look how beautiful it did. All right, we were piling in at 1250. I gave the alert out to the community when it was 60, and I'm like, get the hell out. We're close enough to our target. Now we've pulled back, and let me tell you something. First of all, we're in a value range here right now, below 1250. This thing is so cheap after they absolutely blew away earnings. This thing's probably worth, I think, at least $16 is the appropriate value for this stock. But then this morning, Well, there's two things, technicals and catalysts. You know, it's story trading. We look at our 4 pillars. We start with the catalyst. What's the impact of the catalyst on sentiment? What's the impact on fundamentals? Then we look at the technicals. So when I do a trade, I have to have at least 2 pillars there. All right. And it can't be only technicals. I never trade only on technicals. If I have technicals and something else, it's game on. So here we have technicals and a catalyst. What's the catalyst? And we have the recent fundamentals. But in any case, TSSI, yesterday, Elon Musk says for Colossus, their AI, XAI product, that he wants to scale to 1 million NVIDIA GPUs. You heard this?
Yes, I did.
Guess who helps to integrate those GPUs for XI? It's TSSI. They've already integrated 150,000 of those GPUs for XAI. Now they want to scale that to 1 million. So that's just a catalyst here for TSSI to get back towards my target for today, by the way. And where's the technicals? It's a 30-minute chart. I know people are looking at the daily chart and they're scared of it. Like, look at this gap. Oh my God.
I was just going to ask you, is there any chance this gap fills? You don't think so, it sounds like.
Not today. As an open green candle. Maybe in the future. We'll see. Maybe at some point. All right. But for today, I was looking at the 30-minute. Look at this 30-minute trend line. You look at this. That's a beautiful, just a pullback after earning, breakout earnings. I mean, this thing's getting bought right here. Right. So it looks totally different than the daily chart. And then on top of that, you got the catalyst. So this is one where I have a target right here at this previous support is now resistance 1325. I think 1325 can still hit today. It's 11 a.m.
Okay.
We'll see. So that's actually my biggest position.
I see a trend line. I actually see, if you go back to that chart that you were just on, there is a trend line that is jumping out at me from that 1640 high. I think if you snap that, like can you draw that for me, or is that going to mess up your chart?
Actually, I don't even
from the 1640 high through the successive peaks. There's 2 of them.
Here?
And then, yep, right there, right from that high.
Oh, here we go. I don't even know how to draw.
Right from that high to the next one.
I can't draw. I don't know.
That's okay.
You know what?
That's what I figured.
It
looks like it's the one on the left there.
I got to figure out how to. I got to figure out how to draw.
Right there, draw it through those 2 things. Bang, bang, bang. This to me is going to be one of your key levels.
We're showing lines all over the
Lord. I asked. It was a simple task.
Can you believe
Control Z that.
Right.
Whoa! Unclick on it, and then Ben, unclick on that blue thing that's highlighted up there real quick. You're gonna keep drawing lines. Nope. Over. Unclick on that. All right, click on those and start deleting them. Nope.
I don't know. You can.
No, you're gonna keep
share
drawing.
your screen and do it if you want. But I don't draw my own lines.
All I was trying to get across before we marked up that chart was that I think that you've got a pretty clear level to break above today.
Yeah. So look, I've been doing this for 25 years, and I actually don't draw my own lines. All I do is candle analysis and moving averages, and it works great for me. I imagine them sometimes, but I don't need them. I've never needed them. So in any case, maybe Rhett will draw that for us later. But that's my next one. It's $12. Nice pullback, only up 2.5% this morning, and that's that trend line. That's my next big one. Looking for 1325 target on TSSI.
Okay, I love it. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to follow it. Ben, I will say this. First of all, really good stuff here. Really appreciate you guys. But Ben, you could probably use some more coffee today. I'll check in with I'll check in with you in 19 minutes.
All right, I'll see you. Whew, what a day, Rhett. Been an unbelievable, ridiculous day of predictions. I didn't even have a chance to tell Ryan about my prediction on ASST yesterday, which we put in the Discord. ASST yesterday, when this thing was about 725, I'm like, the chart's looking constructive. 9 to 10, we can see it tonight. Now we ended up getting it the next day. So 9 to 10, we ended up getting that the next day. Edible, another kind of like shit go on news yesterday as well, when this thing was 360. I said we can see 6 to 8 in the near future. I mean, I've just been absolutely on fire with the predictions. It's been ridiculous. So we ride here, hit that. I'm all out now. We hit that 11. I sold on the way up, so I'm all out of this right now. I'm going to continue watching this, right? This RSI is not overbought on the daily. You know, this 50 DMA of 11, if that breaks, I may have to buy back higher because, you know, it's a big move, 27%. It's a chance. There's a chance it's just the beginning. Because if you look at what Pony did, all right, what did Pony do? Oh, my gosh. It went from 5 to 20 and broke all the moving averages. So I think that we have to watch We Ride. I'm not willing to bet on it now, but if we break it, I may have to buy back higher on We Ride. I'll pause there, Rhett. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really liking the chart. I just want to point one thing out is Bitcoin is broke all-time highs.
Oh, beautiful.
That all-time highs again.
Yeah.
Q's ripped on that as well. It's pulling back a little now,
Risk
but
on, baby. Risk on. Love it.
oh yeah.
All right. Got a small amount of BitX in my Webull account. Nothing that's going to make me rich, but yes, not surprised to see that. So that's going to be exciting. TSSI getting a pullback now. Not sure why, but I don't care. I think we're heading back up. All right. What else do we got over here? We talked about AST and Edible. This was a great trade. The short wolf after that expected bankruptcy news from a Wall Street Journal yesterday. Unfortunately, I was trying to trade this, and once I covered my short to reshort on the pop, then Fidelity was like, "Sorry, no more shares to short." I'm like, shit, I forgot that could happen. So I couldn't reshort it. So anyway, that was actually one of my best trades in the last couple of days. Was last night shorting this, and we shorted at 2 on the pop, shorted again at 147. Gave play-by-play guidance in our Discord. That was just absolutely beautiful.
Nice. And then someone commented in here, APVO, it's ripping right now, which it is. It's up over 120% at the
Yeah,
moment.
I'm not familiar with APVO. It reminds me of my
Check
gold.
out that news.
I'll check out APVO in a second. Just want to note that gold here above the 20 EMA was in our morning note this morning. 309 target on GLD. APVO, I've actually never heard of it. So, it's one of these shitcos. Yeah, we're in shitco season. We are in short squeeze season. Tis the season. But if you're early on these things, great. You see the press release. This is a biotech, probably what some trial news or patent or some bullshit.
Yeah, breakthrough in cancer treatment. Redship is.
Redship. They're pumping it. They're going to do an offering. I mean, look, if you get in with them in the first 3 minutes, it's great. But I don't like to chase these shitcos. Unless after a while they show strength, like ASST, and this one has Vivek Ramaswamy behind it. Apparently, is that correct, Red? I think. Vivek has something to do with this. So something like this, I've been playing, more than just for those first few seconds. This one we've been in and out a few times and had that nice prediction last night on ASST. But those little biotechs, for me, the play is get in within the first few seconds, and when it pops 30, 40, 50%, get out and never look back. That's how I like to do those shitcos.
Definitely. And then someone's asking our thoughts on the GME chart. I'm looking at it right now.
Wow, I've not looked at GME chart in a long time.
You know what? Speaking of that, the other one that was a good one to follow was Reddit on the show last week. It hit that 130, then pulled back.
Yeah. GME, they have a lot of cash. I think they did say that they're going to invest some of that cash in Bitcoin. Didn't they make that announcement finally a few weeks ago?
Yeah, that was a few weeks ago. And
Yeah.
then looking on the daily chart, I think if you can get a break above, I think it looks like 29.42, 50-ish, right around that area, you can get a continuation run. Nice.
Yeah, I'll add this to my watch list, Jamie. Someone's asking, thanks for WRD. What's next? Well, I put it out there. I believe TSSI. This is a great opportunity. I got to add more. I'm overweight at this point. I'm overweight. But you know what? Maybe because I'm overweight, I'll do it via options, so I don't put too much more capital at risk here. So TSSI, I'm going to do this live on air. Let's see, June 20th, 10 or 1250. 1250. I don't like the 1250s. 10s. These are 10s. Maybe the 10s. All right, I'm going to get the $10 call options June 30th. I just bought those here because I don't want to risk too much additional capital. On this pullback, loving that here. Let's just double check that 30-minute chart and make sure we're still good. We're still good on this 30-minute chart. Support's now at 1156 on that chart. Okay, nice. Sometimes it takes a day. Sometimes it takes a day or two for my predictions to work out. Usually they happen the same day, but we had to wait a day for ASST, WRD. We had to wait for the earnings.
Yep.
I thought it would rip before the earnings in anticipation. It didn't. So we had to wait 5 days for the earnings to come out for this one to rip. So may have to wait. We'll see on TSSI. All right, what else you got?
Then there's one APVO. Yeah, no news today. Got it nice. Yeah, don't chase. All my largest losses are from chasing. 100%. Completely agree with that.
Especially the shitcos. I want to chase those shitcos. Man, I was doing well on gold calls the last couple days, and Ooh, man. Yeah, we'll see. Maybe I'll try. I looked at them this morning. They were too expensive. I did look at them after the open. The gold calls look pretty pricey, yeah, so I didn't go for them.
Target. Let's see how Target's doing today.
Yeah, they had bad news.
They're starting to come back. They're only down
Big gap down.
3.5% today.
Yeah. I don't know. This is not my. I mean, that's a tough one. I'm glad I avoided this one. I mean, where do you find this with a support? It was right in kind of the middle of nowhere. I would have had to listen to the conference call to have any kind of conviction in it, find that support. You know, to me, this is just an avoid. It's too unpredictable compared to these other more predictable ones we've been on.
Yeah, definitely. I agree.
What else you got?
Let's see. Talk about TSSI, WRD. Talked about Wolf. Let's check out what's happening with Bull. Haven't looked at that one in here in a few minutes.
Bull?
Nothing came
did I
back a
not-
little.
Did I not talk about Bull? Yeah.
No, you did. You did.
So Bull, yeah, that's the we did. We talked about the trend line. 14 potentially would be the target. Hit 1332. Possibility we see 14 before they report tomorrow afternoon in anticipation. So this one behaving a little bit differently than the WRD. WRD had no anticipation before the earnings. Webull is having an anticipation breakout above the trend line before earnings. So possible we see 14 on this before they report tomorrow afternoon.
So uranium's up too. You want to talk about that? We can talk
Yeah,
about
that was in my
uranium.
morning note.
Yeah.
And I didn't get a chance. I gave a couple uranium picks. I think I gave CCJ and URA
Yep.
as picks for today. Look at URA because I don't know if anything's happened yet, but it's imminent. The executive order from Trump to get those nuclear reactors going here in the States. So definitely this was in play. It's been on our radar. So I did give the CCJ and URA ideas this morning in our official morning note on that. Yeah.
Nice. And then something else I want to bring to our attention is CLBR.
Yeah, that's a
you've been swinging. So
big position for me.
It's up today 3%.
Oh yeah, baby. So this is a big position for me. It's actually my biggest, excluding the some overweight trading shares I have on TSSI at the moment. So CLBR at TSSI. Okay. So I've been patiently waiting in this one because you get, this is beautiful. Please break out today. I've been waiting for a long time on this one. But this is the Trump Jr. SPAC grab a gun and has been a little chatty about it, a little pumpy about it on X from time to time. And this has been under clear accumulation. People have been loading up on this. They've been loading up on options. I think ever since CEP exploded and also Bull was also a SPAC, right? Everyone's looking for what's that next SPAC to explode. And we saw this interest in CLBR starting to increase after CEP really exploded. It was around the same time when Bull exploded when it de-SPAC, and then CEP exploded, and then we had Newsmax IPO. So everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, these IPO SPACs, they're all being targeted." So what better than what a Trump one that has a Trump tailwind behind it. And I bought into that, and that's good. And I believe that. I'm into it. So I've been holding this patiently. I'm up on it, as you can see, because we got it down here in like the low 12s, I guess, 1230 or something like that. But I think someone wants to run this big. I think someone has some aspirations out there, someone or a group of people, or maybe it's just the community at large has an aspiration out there to see if we could, do a SEP on this thing. So I think that's what may be going on here. So that's good to see. I haven't been scalping it. There's been many opportunities to sell the pops and try to buy it back lower, but I've been holding this because the SPAC's not complete yet, right? So you have a floor at like $11 or so, or I don't know exactly where the floor is on this one. 11.50 or 10 or whatever, 10.50. It depends. Each one's a little bit different. So you have a nice floor here. So my downside's limited with a potential upside of, hey, let's do a SEP on this thing. So I've been patiently waiting on this rather than trying to scalp. Will become PEW. Yes, that's right. The ticker symbol will become PEW, someone's saying in the chat. Someone's asking about Hood. So let's see. So currently, as of this moment, these are my two largest positions, CLBR and TSI, in my trade account. Okay. Regarding Hood, it's actually become my largest position in my Roth IRA just through price appreciation. Can I look at it? You know what? Like, look, I have a different philosophy most of the time on trading than most people out there on fintech. I will trade these big caps from time to time, and I have. Especially when they were smaller. Hood is now 58 billion. Hood is one of those companies I called the inflection on. I was a little bit late on this, around like $20. We have a new 52-week on CLBR. I called the inflection point. What's an inflection point? Inflection point is like you've become profitable, you have good guidance, you've reached critical mass with users, or you've changed the sentiment. You've flipped the sentiment from bearish to now like permanently bullish. I've identified the inflection points in a lot of stocks that are now big caps that are no longer. HIMS, Palantir, Carvana, and I have it all on video, all in single digits. All right, all in single digits. I was like, this thing is inflected, and you can just buy and hold this thing for the long term. And that's usually what I did. Now, Palantir, I got shaken out of because I thought, not shaken, but I thought it was too expensive. Like from value, like I bought it at like 10, sold it at 30. HIMS, I'm still in. Hood, I'm still in. Carvana, I never even played, even though I predicted it. I don't know why, but it's just, as I'm talking about this morning, it's so hard for me to be everywhere. I talk about like 50 stocks a day. I can't be in all of them.
Yeah.
But in any case, Hood at this point, this is a retirement stock. Like, why bother trading it? I don't know. If you have an extremely strong catalyst, then I might go for it. But otherwise, what do I think about the Hood chart? I think it's a great company. I want to hold it in my retirement account. Once in a while, I'll go in and I'll rebalance and I'll be like, okay, let me sell 10% of my Hood because it's overheated, like I did with HIMS. I sold like 10% of my HIMS last week. All right. And that's it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And then Hood's also about to come up and test the all-time highs again as well. So
yeah, for me, trading wise, I'd rather focus on the CLBRs and the TSSIs of the world, and gooses on earnings and WRD and bull. Like, this is where my focus is on trading. Again, unless you have a really, really good catalyst on a big cap, that's where my head's at. And it's been doing really, really good for us. All right, what else we got?
Someone's asking me about DFDV. I don't think I've ever heard of that one.
Never heard of it. DFDV.
Trying to look at
it. You want to discuss it? You can join our Discord. By the way, our Discord, one of the only ones you'll find out there, if not the only one, where the principal analyst, which is me and the Godfather knows, and Rhett over here, and now we have Dougie Fresh Picks, technical analysts, all within our Discord. We are the only community where the analysts will talk to you and chat back and forth with you throughout the day. Pretty much do this like 18 hours a day, 6 days a week. Well, 5 days a week. Now I pretty much take off Sundays too until Sunday evening after work. But we can always talk about it. All right, in our Discord.
So it's a DeFi, decentralized finance platform and services.
Yeah,
blockchain and all that. So
wow, look at that chart. Look, I guess all the crypto stocks are up now with Bitcoin breaking out to new all-time highs. But it's going to be hard for me to have any opinion on it without researching the fundamentals. Is QBTS the one that I called all-time high breakout on after the earnings report?
Yeah, I believe so. This is
one, and this is talk about inflection points. Now, I know there's a lot of shorts in this, and I know my peer, the Godfather knows, my colleague doesn't like this, and we're on other opposite sides of this. But that morning when the earnings came out, I was pretty bullish on it, and I know there's someone in our community who's really into it, Shy, and I gave him some targets for the day, and then I said, after that we're gonna break the 52-week high and the all-time high on it. Why did I say that? It may be bullshit. It may be fraud or whatever the shorts think. All right, maybe too expensive.
I'm a short. You want my thesis on it?
I'll hear your thesis in a second.
I shorted on every pop.
You guys keep shorting it. I think that's dangerous to do. But what they said was, we can reach profitability with the cash we have on hand. That's the best catalyst you can have in the world for a stock ever. All right. When you get a non-profitable company to come out and say that, you don't want to short. Now, if you think it's fraud or it's bullshit or they're lying, all right, fine. But it's going to go up before it goes down. So I was not an advocate of shorting this, and I'm honest with you, I'm still not an advocate of shorting it, because why do you want to short in this type of market? Why do you want to short anything in this type of market unless they're going bankrupt, like the Wolf is?
Wolf. Yeah.
Yeah.
So real quick here. First of all, I don't ever short anything unless it's an intraday trade. I'm talking about buying puts and having short exposure, just to clear that up, because I too wouldn't short anything in the environment that we're in. However, given the move that this thing had yesterday, just felt it was too overcooked, a little bit of a regression back to the mean, was able to get very cheap 14.5 calls that 14.5 puts that expire this week. So I'm basically playing a regression back to the mean here.
Right.
As far as the whole profitability angle, quantum computing, I don't know if what's going on at the company is BS. That's not what I'm here to do. Their timeline of this being right around the corner, yeah, that's BS. Not happening. So a quick short-term regression back to the mean, that was my thesis here. We'll see if we get it. Risk is well defined by having puts ahead of the trade so that I can control my risk and manage my position size.
Awesome. Sounds great, Ryan.
And then someone's asking for the link to the Discord. You can head over to storytrading.com.
Yeah, I
Look it right there.
wasn't sharing that QR code that we had made for you because I thought, oh, wait, it looks like we took I wasn't sure if this 30% off was true or not, or any of that stuff. So I didn't want to advertise something. But you can scan this QR code, whoever was asking for that. Just use
Brett,
your
does
phone
that
right
code
here.
work anymore?
Huh?
Does the code still work?
Let's find out right now. It should still be active.
It should at least send you to the Discord, right? Maybe it doesn't.
Yeah, it'll
have
send you to the Discord. Let's see if people, because I mean, if that's the case, that's going to be our best promo right
Yeah,
now.
we haven't been doing promos because, man.
Yeah, and I get it. And like I said, I wanted to follow what you guys were doing, so I hadn't been sharing this. If you make me up a new one without a promo attached, I'll do it for you. No problem.
Is it BZ Show? It's 15% off.
There you go. So we
15%
fixed
off.
it, and we just didn't fix our graphic. There you go.
Yep.
You can still say, so that's on us. I'll blame my producer. That's how I'm going to get through this. Okay.
No, that's all good. I think I told you guys 30, but we ended up changing all the promo codes. So that's
Okay.
on me.
Really good stuff here, guys. Congratulations. Ben, it looks like you've simmered down a little bit here. Might be time for some more coffee. We'll catch up with you next week. Really good stuff
All
here
right.
today, folks.
All righty. Take care, Ryan. Have a good one.
All right. That is Ben and Rhett. No Godfather today. I'm sure he'll be back. Ben and Rhett from Story Trading. Those guys do a great job here, absolutely killing it. But right now, I'm going to send you over to Futures Fever with Kevin, who also does a great job. Thanks, everybody, for your support, dealing through some of the technical issues that we had here today. We'll be back at this again tomorrow, 2% better than we were today. You can book that. Stay green, stay safe, stay focused. We'll see you tomorrow, folks. Sending you over to